WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
You're exhausted, admit it. You didn't get to sleep easily last night. If you were at the game, you're probably wet and cold still. But the Eagles are 10-1. Unbelievably. I came in last week on Tuesday morning and said that I don't think I'd ever seen an Eagles big game regular season win that was weirder, crazier, stranger than that Kansas City win. I changed my mind because it only took 6 days for that one to be supplanted. That Bills game yesterday was wild. And one of the questions I'm going to ask you today is how? How are they 10-1? How can this team continually dance with the devil and come away with victories and come away with clutch moments? They're incredible. And it's mind-boggling the way that they do it. But there are some amazing numbers that I've got that just show you that this year is a lot more like last year than anybody would ever believe. They're 10-1. Eagles win 37-34 in overtime. And I would tell you, if you told me you never lost faith yesterday that they were going to win that game, I'm going to probably think you're in the sauce and that you might be fibbing a little bit. That was wild. And an MVP caliber quarterback showed his mettle again. Defense made plays when they needed to, but didn't make enough plays all day long, which caused a lot of the debacle. The running game, again, a question mark early on, why they're not doing stuff, and then all of a sudden when they commit to it, they dominate with it. It makes no sense, and that's why I ask you how. And we're going to talk about that all day today, is the idea of how are they 10-1? And more importantly, how much 2023 truly is like 2022. And I'm shocked by some of the stuff I dug up. Good morning, Bob. Good to have you back.
Good morning. Yeah, what a wild day. I had a cousin text me in the middle of it. Oh, this is such a fun Eagles game. And my first thought was, really? Really? This is fun? I guess you're not an Eagles fan. So, yeah, I guess for you it's fun. For us, it's kind of nerve-wracking. I watched it with about 16 to 20 people yesterday. We had a Friendsgiving. And I love just looking at the reaction. I kind of sit by myself and just, take it all in. But I love listening to the reaction. The reaction for more than three-quarters of the game was, oh, my God, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
It was frustration. It was screaming, run the ball. It was asking questions of what the hell are you doing? All of those things. And they still wind up winning a great overtime game.
You're literally laughing as you give your analysis of what you saw.
Yeah.
I mean, because how? How does it happen? How does it happen that
I don't know.
These are weird games? These are really weird.
Sometimes people know how to do things that are just inexplicable. You'll have a friend that knows how to figure things out or how to do something in their profession. You're like, man, I could never do that. How does he even think that way? I have a friend who's always thinking 2 steps ahead of everybody. I swear to God, always 2 steps ahead of everybody. And I always try to catch up, but I never can. And then I'm watching this game yesterday, and I'm thinking the same thing to myself because I was texting him before the game. And I'm thinking, dude, are they thinking 2 steps ahead of us? Is Brian Johnson, for all the aggravation that we have, what are you doing at the time? Is he saying, yeah, say that now, but come fourth quarter, you'll see what I'm doing? I don't know. I haven't really seen a season like this, in all honesty, in all my years of following Philadelphia sports.
I've never seen it either.
No.
Here's one thing, though, that is a problem with the Brian Johnson thing, no matter how well you look at it, is his offensive game plan in the first half screwed the defense because they never gave the defense a breather, and the defense wasn't playing that great at all. And the offense was not controlling the football and running clock and giving them a chance to breathe. And that was killing them in the fourth quarter when they couldn't stop the run and literally their arm tackling. They were worn out because the Eagles' time of possession was terrible. They weren't keeping the ball. And to me, that's a question again. How? And Pat, I mean, honestly, the gauntlet of emotions you ran yesterday,
yes,
just following you on Twitter was very, very entertaining. And I will tell you, I was right there with you. You may have been in the front seat of the roller coaster car. I was right behind you because almost every single thing you were saying during the course of the game, I think most people were feeling. And if they're not, they're lying.
Yeah,
they're
I hope so. Years were taken off my life. No regrets, though. No regrets. I don't know how they did it, and to see Jalen Hurts' reaction after the game, too, kind of spoke volumes. I mean, he kind of just shrugged into the camera like, I don't know what to say at this point. This team just continues to find ways to win, and even it'll seem like they're down by 2 touchdowns, they're never seemingly out of it. Down 10 back-to-back games, and they find a way to scratch and claw their way back into it. Bad conditions. They didn't play all that well, but they ended up getting a W, and I was content with them losing that game. At one point, I was almost going to put a tweet out that said, this is a scheduled loss.
Oh, no.
To use the NBA term. Because it's like, you're coming on a short week. The conditions aren't great. Your right tackle's out. Like, if they lost that game, yeah, it's a little frustrating, but we're not coming in doom and gloom, I don't think.
It would have scared us, though, going into San Fran with the chance to tie us.
A little bit, for sure. But they didn't. They won. So,
it's incredible.
Birds by 50 on Sunday.
I will say this to you. I've got some numbers for you that tell you 2023 is like 2022. And I think most people would say, in most gut reaction, people would say this season's nothing like last year, right? I mean, I think is that a fair assumption?
Yeah,
this team's not playing as well?
No. Well, no. The eye test, no. And they're winning differently, yes.
Here's one that I don't think anybody would believe this morning. So hold on to your drivers. If you're driving right now out there are wet leaves, so be careful. The Eagles last year averaged 28.1 points per game, and they made it to the Super Bowl. The Eagles this year are averaging 28.2 points per game. So the offense, despite everything we're screaming about every single Monday, complaining about on Sunday afternoon, as Bob's at his Friendsgiving and everybody's, just what's going on here? This team is actually a 1/10 of a point better in points per game scoring than they were last year. And it seems nothing like last year to me. Eye test, nothing like last year. The Sundays used to be fun. Pat Egan was playing Legos in the fourth quarter.
It was a blast.
Not anymore.
No.
Not this year.
Getting gray hairs.
Are you really?
I don't know. I hope not. But the stress level is definitely there this season as opposed to last season. Last season, like the numbers to me, if you look at just the points per game and you go, oh, it's actually higher, I would go, yeah, well, they took their foot off the gas a lot of games last year. A lot of games last year.
Minshew games, too.
You were throwing in Gardner Minshew with 5-6 minutes to go to just burn clock to get out of there without without an injury situation. So I think if the team last year wanted to, they could have put up 40 a game, but they would just take their foot off the gas because they were up by so much. We haven't seen that. Look, I mean, people are calling right now.
Yeah, I can see why.
I mean, seriously,
they're agreeing with me. The masses are agreeing, Bobby.
Well, I think I would say this: if you tell me that you I had one guy yesterday. It's like, are you serious? They're 10-1. I mean, they're 9-1. Why are you complaining? Like, what are people complaining about? You're watching that game. If you didn't feel it, if you didn't hear it, then you're in trouble because it really doesn't in any way make any sense what went down yesterday. The 6 a.m. sponsor is Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. And again, I'm going to ask you on the phones all day long, and we'll get into discussion here, is how? How do they do it? And did someone tell Jim Nantz that you don't say goodbye to the staff and everything like that before Jake Elliott steps up to try to attempt a 59-yard field goal? I did not have great confidence because of the conditions. The rain, the wind. I was like, wait a minute, this is going to be brutal. And that ball must have been, even though they do let them have a dry ball, they do let them keep a ball. So they're not playing with the same soggy wet ball that's been played with.
Kickers have dry balls. Everybody else is playing with wet ones.
But I mean, seriously, did you have great confidence he'd make that kick?
I did.
Really?
I got to tell you, I'm sitting there and I'm saying it out loud a little bit to the people I'm with and on. I'm not reactionary. I just kind of take it all in. But even when they're down by double digits going into the fourth, I just said out loud, would it surprise anybody if they win this game? I mean, let's be honest. Would it surprise you? And then, boom, touchdown. They outscore the Bills 17-7 in the fourth quarter. And then, he lines up for the 59-yarder, and I was like, they're going to win this game. And he ties it. And then Buffalo gets the field goal, and I said, there it is. Eagles are going to win it. And, I'm not bragging like I knew what was going to go on. I just, for the first time this season, I had that overconfident, it's okay. They're going to do this. As frustrating as it was, I was in that relaxed state of, somehow they're going to pull this out.
I want to ask Hal and Nick Sirianni. Well, here's his answer about the first half and what happened last night and how that team reacted.
You know what? It couldn't have been much worse of a first half. We got to the run game really going in the second half. That was an offensive explosion in the second half, right? I mean, and it had to be because, they were good too. And then really excited for our guys on offense that just put their head down and just kept going, right? And that's mental toughness, right? I already know this team, this Philadelphia Eagles team, is physically tough, and you get mentally tough, more tough throughout the year when you go through ups and downs. And man, that was a down first half. But we have a mentally tough group as well as physically tough group that just stuck with it and kept fighting, and it turned.
I think that was a very honest answer, very honest assessment. And a lot of coaches wouldn't have told you how crappy that first half was, but Nick Sirianni owned it. And Jalen Hurts says, look, the win is about resilience, and that's what he feels about this team right now.
First off, a great team effort, a great team win. I kind of had a little reflection moment of what am I supposed to say? What do you guys want me to say? And we just continue to find ways to win. We continue to find ways to win. We play together. We've shown our resiliency day in and day out, game in and game out. We've been challenged in a number of different ways, but we always find a way, and that's something you can't really take for granted, and it's hard to quantify. Obviously, we have a ton to clean up. I have a ton to clean up. I have not executed to the level of my standard and what that is. Yet it seems to be enough.
Yeah, I want to know what the standard is, and Jalen talks about that a little bit because I keep hearing about the standard, and I'm not too pleased with the standard I've been seeing.
In terms of the standard that I like to play to consistently, and I like us to play to consistently as a team, enough is never enough. And so you just want to continue to strive for more and play to that standard, But I think in those moments, you just truly never want to get too high, never get too low. We found a way in the end. We made it happen.
When you saw him sitting on the bench between series and just sort of staring off into space, what's going in his mind? Like, what do you think is going in his mind? Because he'll never tell us.
I don't know.
He will never let us know.
It seems like this. Say you couldn't look at him and tell if you're up 40-0 or down 40-0.
Correct.
You just can't. That's the way this guy is. That's the way his motor runs.
After the Jake Elliott field goal, it looked like they missed it.
Yeah,
I swear,
his reaction
his head,
was
right?
shaking his head. I'm like, dude.
I think he was shaking his head going, holy gosh.
Yeah, that's probably
like,
what
oh, my
it
God,
was.
we're going to win
Jake
another
Elliott.
one we shouldn't have won, maybe. I don't
wonder about
know.
that. Like, because I like what you say, though, Bob. You can't tell if he's up 40-0 or down 40-0.
Yeah, and that's probably a good thing. I mean, it's even keel. It is
For him, it's
what
great,
it is,
right?
Especially after a first half where you just get he had 33 passing yards in the first half. He was 4 for 11. The offense was anemic. I was questioning in my head. I didn't say it out loud. Like, is Brian Johnson really going to make it through the season? I was starting to wonder that because there was things that were laughably bad by that offense in the first half. And I know I harp on this and all, but what happened? Where did DeAndre Swift go there for a while?
They lose him. They literally forget one of the best weapons they have.
I'm looking. I'm like, oh, wait, Gainwell's still in there. Okay, I know you got to sprinkle him in.
Boston Scott.
Wait, Gainwell's still in there. Okay, good. Gainwell's out. But wait, Boston Scott's in there? Like, what is he on like a – I don't know
A
if
pitch
there's –
count, maybe?
Maybe. And like I said, maybe there's a big picture here that we're all not seeing, that Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni, Lane Johnson gets this groin yesterday, so they say, no, you're going to sit. Is that part of the – hey, because he'll be ready for the playoffs. We don't have to worry about any of this. Everything is geared towards the playoffs. I don't know. Are we going to see something different come playoff time? Winning is what it's all about, so you don't want that to be any different. But I've never seen a team be so frustratingly good in the history of my life.
Hey, Football Mondays on the Fanatic are presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. Get flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. Here's what I will ask you again. If you want to join us on the phones, if you're one of our early risers, you can at 610-632-0975. How? How are they 10-1? And what do you think is making them find their way out of every one of these like terrible things? These are some terrible things, and we're going to talk about them. And one of them we're going to talk about is the defense, which has some major problems. But yesterday, there were two big bright spots, and I think it's great for the Eagles' future. So tell us how. How are they 10-1? It's not an easy question, and I bet you we will get 50 different answers. 610-632-0975. You want to jump in early. It's the John Kincade Show. And yes, it is another Monday with an Eagles victory here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Eagles win again. I'm Pat Egan. The Sports Update is brought to you by Game Days at Live Casino and Hotel. Philadelphia is your game day headquarters. Pre-game, the Birds at the ultimate tailgate steps away from the stadium. Join Bob Cooney, Andrew Selchunas, and myself for the Fanatic pregame show. Every home game only at Live Casino and Hotel. The Philadelphia Eagles are 10-1 after defeating the Bills 37-34. Wasn't pretty. Eagles found themselves down by 10 points at the half for the second straight game, but they clawed their way back. Jake Elliott hit a 59-yard field goal to send the game into overtime. And with the Eagles trailing by 3 in OT, Jalen Hurts took it himself and he called game.
And this would be the pedigree of championship teams. Hurts to the end zone, and the Eagles have won it in overtime.
We'll continue to break down the Eagles' thrilling victory all morning long here on the Fanatic, so keep it locked. The Sixers are home tonight to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. Sixers currently sit with an 11-5 record, while the Lakers are 10-7. Tip-off for that one is set for 7 p.m., and it's a game you can listen to right here on the Fanatic. Flyers, they are off tonight. They prepare for the Hurricanes tomorrow night at home. I'm Pat Egan on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union, 97.5 The Fanatic.
The Philadelphia 76ers play here. Every game, home and away. We'll have the play-by-play tonight. Presented by Corona, official partner of the 76ers, the Villa Cerveza. This is the exclusive home for Sixers basketball. 97.5 The Fanatic. The Fanatic's Business of Sports is powered by Pico for Business.
Our friends at Betway analyze stadium data to find out what they charge for a scoreboard message and for your engagement to be done publicly. And you know what? Our 76ers are a great value. They ranked outside the top 10 overall in the index. They made it a very affordable. They're talking about dinner, the celebration, and what you have to pay the team to be able to get it done. $447? Sounds like a bargain for a lifetime of happiness. Businesses of all types and sizes are saving money with Pico because Pico's got the financial incentives and technical expertise to help you reduce your energy use and to save cash. See how Pico's helping businesses like yours take greater control of their energy costs to improve their bottom line. Simply complete a customer survey on Pico's digital portal and an energy profile. The report will be generated for you, and this profile is going to provide specific recommendation based on your facilities, equipment, and energy use with great ways to save while either maintaining or increasing productivity.
The holidays are here, and if you're making a list and checking it twice, let the Preferred Pros make that list shorter by checking off your home improvement projects. Whether you need experts to help keep your home cozy warm, remove the junk and clutter, or help to keep your holiday gifts safe, we have just the pros for you.
Leaky pipes, cold showers? Hutchinson Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing offers affordable 24-hour emergency plumbing solutions, same-day water heater installs, and lowest cost drain clearing.
East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows. If you call, they'll show up. Schedule your free consultation today at eastcoastroofing.com. Serving South Jersey since 1979.
Halco Grills and Fireplaces offers the very best and top-of-the-line gas fireplaces, outdoor grill products, and accessories. Visit halcogrills.com.
Check out Preferred Pros today. This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. For more details on Preferred Pros, visit 975thefanatic.com.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-485-6262. 800-485-6262. 800-485-6262.
Cyber Golden Gable deals are here at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 45% off and save an extra $100 on every $800 you spend on select major appliances. And there's more. Get the DeWalt 20-volt Max Drill Kit for $99. Was $159. Hurry, these savings won't last because Lowe's knows deals. Valid to 11/29 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
At the Home Depot, we have all kinds of trees, but the one thing they have in common is they were all made for joy. Like the 7.5-foot Jackson Noble Fir artificial Christmas tree for only $2.99. It easily clicks into place and comes to life with 1,200 color-changing lights in 8 different remote control settings. When you buy your tree at the Home Depot, not only will you get more out of it, you'll be able to put more under it. Bring home joy with your perfect tree from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hey, it's Ricky Bowe, and I want to tell you, construction sites are notoriously dangerous. It's not just the frequency of accidents that happen, it's the severity of the injuries that result. Whether the accident is caused by poorly maintained equipment, ignored safety regulations, faulty materials, weak scaffolding, or exposed electrical hazards, the employer is often negligent and at fault. But they'll try and blame the employee in order to escape potential liability. That's why, as soon as you experience an accident, you need to call 1-800-JUSTICE and get a free consultation from the personal injury experts at Swartz Culleton. You may be eligible for more than just workers' compensation. If there's a third-party liability from property owners, equipment manufacturers, or other contractors on site, they'll find it. And they'll make sure you are properly reimbursed for recovery, rehabilitation, loss of income, plus non-financial aspects like pain, suffering, and emotional distress. Need to know more? Visit SwartzCulleton.com or call 1-800-JUSTICE. In this David versus Goliath battle, they're the ones carrying a big slingshot.
When you switch to Boost Mobile, you can get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G and a pretty powerful way to get after it.
Like me, Tusi, a man who fell in love with music and fell on hard times. From writing songs in my room to sitting on top of the charts. All because I made poetry out of pain and always knew I'd be on the stage singing your favorite song.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone on America's largest 5G networks.
Boost Mobile. Get after it.
New customers only. Taxes extra. 1 device per line. 5G not available everywhere. Other restrictions apply.
When your team's best players have all been traded and the latest pick is overrated, just raise a glass with a friend or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. May your team be great and your picks be true, and if it falls apart, you'll know what to do. Just raise a glass with a fan or two and tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. It's a crazy world, so what do? You tell them more, tell them more, tell them more do. Hey! Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, 40% alcohol, William Grant & Sons Inc., New York.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Feels good on a Monday when you get a win like that. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, and I ask you how is this team 10-1? It makes no sense. I mean, there's so many ways that this team shouldn't be successful in LR. And as I pointed out, like, I've got a bunch of numbers that just say to me, this team isn't as different from 2022 as you think it is. And I'll have more of those for you throughout the course of the day. You can get in with us at 610-632-0975. Dredd did just that. Dredd, how is this team 10-1? Come on, man.
Yo!
How is this team 10-1?
Sheer will. But before I say anything else, Jake the Make Elliott, baby. All the time. There for you. One from Hurts, one from Jake Elliott. They do it all the time, baby.
Dredd, I don't understand it, though. I'm screaming at my TV. I'm complaining about play calling. And this team just keeps finding a way out of terrible situations.
We all are, man. And I think about Brian Johnson and how you get all crazy frustrated. But I'm going to stop questioning him like that.
Are you?
Obviously, he think, well, yeah, I am. But he think he know what he doing, man. He adjusting. He have a game plan. He'll run some rinky-dink thing 5 times and then go the other way and kill him.
I don't understand this, though, Dredd, and I appreciate you, buddy. Bob, why in the world do you constantly have to go, well, we have to make a big adjustment? So the other team, that tells me, now I may be wrong, but that tells me that the other team has a better plan for what you're going to do than you had coming out of the box.
Yeah, I don't know, because earlier in the year we were praising Brian Johnson for having the scripted plays that always look so good to start the game. Now we're wondering what the hell's going on in the first half. I will say this. Pat said it in my ear, and I agree with him. I want to meet Dredd.
Oh, yeah, Dredd.
I want to meet Dredd.
Dredd's got to come out sometime.
Yeah, we got to put a face to that voice. So, Dredd, you're the man. But I don't know. I'm totally without. I mean, the Eagles got crushed yesterday in so many different areas. I mean, you look at total plays. Buffalo, how about 92-65?
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first half. They threw for over 200 yards. The Eagles threw for 33. And you're only down 10 points. I mean, you go to the buffet or you go to wherever you go to. For me, it was the buffet yesterday at halftime. And you say, again, man, they're lucky to only be down 10 points.
What buffet?
They're lucky. We were over at our friend Mary Beth's house. Okay. We had a Friendsgiving.
By the way, Tony has a question about this in the DMs.
What's that?
Doesn't Bob hate Friends?
What does that mean?
Well, Friendsgiving is a Friends thing from the Friends TV show.
I didn't know that.
That's where it's from.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Friendsgiving was their whole idea of Thanksgiving, that they all got together.
Well, they never hung with anybody else. So
they didn't want to do. They didn't when
together.
They weren't with their parents. They would have Friendsgiving on another day. So that's where Friendsgiving came from.
Oh, Bobby likes his Pineapple Club.
No, that wasn't that crowd.
Oh,
it wasn't.
No,
sorry.
This was Donna's friends and husbands and all.
But it was fun though.
Oh God,
Good.
It was awesome. Yeah, but yeah, you're literally eating at halftime, saying to yourself, how is it they're only down 10 points? Or it's such a great thing. They're only down 10 points after that first half. I mean, that first half was disgusting. And Nick Sirianni's laughing about it at the press conference afterwards.
Because he can't figure it out. Because nobody knows how. Nobody can say to me how this team is doing it. Now, Dredd says, pure will. And, Pat, that's a little too nebulous for me. I maybe it's my logical 1 + 1 = 2 mind that I just go black and white. I can't deal with, well, it's just pure will that they win.
I really can't deal with that. I can't just buy into that, I guess, because this is the NFL and the team on the other side is trying to win as well. But I do think there is something to be said about this team's ability to just never get too down and believe that they can get back into it. I mean, my first thought when Buffalo ended up taking the lead late was, oh, my God, you guys just messed up. You left way too much time on the clock. Way too much time. And I had faith that the Eagles were going to go. Yeah, I had faith the Eagles were going to go down. The very least, they were going to kick a field goal to tie the game, and we were going to go to overtime. I didn't know if they were going to win in overtime, but I had faith that we were going into overtime. And I think that you see the players' reaction of just like, all right, like let's get it done. You don't see this dejected look, this shocked oh my God, what's happened? I mean, this is kind of a good thing because it's back-to-back weeks, or back-to-back games, I should say, same week, that they've fallen behind 10 at halftime. But one was on the road and now one's at home. And they've responded. So now it's like, nothing kind of will phase this team, I feel like. They've kind of been through it all.
And they're behind 10 to Dallas, right?
They
were behind 10 to Dallas also.
You might have a point.
And they're 3-0 in those games.
Yeah.
In the gauntlet.
Right? So, this team's resiliency, there is something to be said for it.
You definitely are listening to Jalen then. 610-632-0975. How? It's the most simple question I could ever ask you. How is this team doing it? Seth joins us in South Philly. Seth, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Hey, fellas. How y'all doing?
I got to figure out how. Can you tell us how?
Well, this is the ultimate team sport, and I just think this is the ultimate team. These guys go in there every week trying to be 1-0. They don't see 10-1. They go in every week thinking we have to be 1-0 every single week. And to Bob's point, I think the only team that can beat them is themselves. The only reason why the Bills were in this game is because the Eagles made some mistakes. Some terrible mistakes. 2 turnovers, Kelsey at the end with the 2 penalties. So the only reason this
that was
really
incredible to me.
Yeah, and so the only reason this is really the only team that can beat them is themselves. And it was just they win because they have the ultimate team mentality from the ownership down to the players. Everybody is on the same page. Everybody is trying to achieve the same goal.
I love the message there. It's just, Bob, I'm so practical. I'm so logical. I'm like, there has to be like distinct reasons. Everything seems like it's more of a touchy-feely feeling that this team has created with its fan base. By the way, that doesn't mean that these people are wrong that are saying this. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just I have a hard time going, well, they just have this like team mentality and feel. It just seems strange to me. The whole thing seems totally strange. I can't grasp the concept of how this team's 10-1.
I can't either. And if they have the grasp of it, God bless them, or wow, because I've never seen it in sports before. Because if they're sitting there at halftime down 17-7, having a quarterback that's thrown for 33 yards, having given up over 200 yards passing to the other quarterback, having been totally outplayed and not look like they're even in the game, and if they're sitting there saying, yeah, we're fine, God bless them. That's all I can say. I mean, there are so many things. You talk about concern. Well, here's one thing. I think the national narrative is starting to get to the point of, what are we watching here? How is this team 10-1? They're not just saying they're 10-1, they're the best team in football.
Right.
Because why am I saying this? Because next week, San Francisco is a 2-point favorite coming into Philadelphia.
Already down to 1.
Still, that's the national, that's Vegas saying to you, like, nah, one of these weeks, it ain't going to happen. And last week, Eagles gave up to the Chiefs, 8 for 17 on third down. The Chiefs were 8 for 17 on third downs. That's way too good. You can't be happy with that. So what did the Eagles do against the Bills? Oh, they let them go 13 for 22.
See, that's crazy.
How the hell are these things happening and they're still winning football games? I don't know. I love it. It's laughable. Is it good enough to win you a championship? God, you hope so, but more of me leans towards it's just a play or two going bad that means a loss.
Oh, no, sir. Leave.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't have said that.
How about the 2?
But I'm not wrong.
2 things here.
You were wrong. I said leave.
2 things that
means you're alone.
Definitely played out yesterday. And Mike Sealski wrote it, and Marcus Hayes, I believe, wrote it. The Eagles' defense were led yesterday by Jordan Davis's performance and Jalen Carter's performance. And they played the most snaps of their career. And Jalen Carter on the blocked field goal. That helped win them the game. I mean, that was unbelievable. There was a ferociousness yesterday, and their run defense is just absolutely amazing until the fourth quarter yesterday when it was just soft as melted butter.
I think they were exhausted.
They were.
I think they were absolutely
right.
Is there any doubt that when Jordan Davis went down, it was simply, I am absolutely exhausted and cannot get up injury?
I think when he fell, he lost his wind. But I think, Pat, after all that running and all those
Oh, yeah.
snaps, the wind was probably out of him for the
Dude,
most part.
that's a lot of body to be running down Josh Allen.
And his speed was incredible.
Yeah, he got him out of bounds. I mean, credit to him, but when he went down, I went, oh no, he's just
tired.
He's just
I think he's just, and I think he also gave his teammates a breather. I think it was one of those
the
ones.
ultimate team guy.
There you go. Hey, Ike in Southwest Philly. Ike, good morning. Tell us how. Come on, Ike. You got to have answers.
Only thing I say is because you know how you hear bend but don't break defense.
Yes,
that's the team. That's the team. They stay in the game, and then they make clutch plays on all, not just the quarterback. Then go back to Dallas when they had the tight end caught that pass. Like he could have just fell into the end zone, but Reed Blankenship was right there to touch him when his knee was down before he crossed the goal. They just make clutch plays. They get turnovers, punching the ball out. When last week when Kansas City was down there, they make clutch plays. Second thing, I want to give a shout out to some unsung people. I think the punter was ridiculous.
Oh, he's fantastic.
And I will say also, Covey, shout out to him. And we all worry about the special teams, rightly so, from years ago, but they've been actually showing up this last few games or whatever. And the last thing I will say, a troubling thing is Eagles can't run the ball like they used to. We comparing it to last year, but our offensive line be getting pushed back on the run game, and we don't have a big runner to melt the games down like we used to. So we got to win by a different style. That's just my opinion. All right, y'all take it easy.
Let's keep it going. 10-1, buddy.
On the running game, there hasn't been many times to run the clock out, to run it because you're always coming from behind, it seems like.
Correct.
You know, I don't understand the running back rotation a little bit. I feel like I'm calling for DeAndre Swift every game at least a couple of times. I complained yesterday. I said, oh, God, Kenny Gainwell's still in the game, and he went off for like a 22-yard run that took him down near the goal line. Everybody there who I was with was like, yeah, good call. I said, yeah, I know sports.
That was a great.
But I don't know. Do you have more questions about this offense than not?
Yes.
But the answer is, okay, question all you want. They're averaging what you said for the year, John.
1/10 of a point better than last year through 11 games.
And if we look at the last 3 or 4 games or whatever, they're over 30 points every game.
How about?
So I don't know. I just don't know. I don't get it. That's why I laugh. I love the process of getting to 10-1, and for me, not being able to figure it out.
Now, in my head, Pat, I say this team constantly playing from behind. They got to play with the lead. What are they doing? This isn't like last year. And then I did the numbers. Last year, they were 10-1 also. They led at halftime in 8 of the games, and they led after 3 quarters in 8 of the games. This year seems different, right? Well, this year they've led at halftime in 7 of the games, just 1 less, and they've led after the 3rd quarter in 8 games, just as many. Why does it feel so different? Like, why does this year feel like the building's on fire and it's almost the exact same numbers as last year?
Because I feel like last year, if you go and look at the margin of what they were ahead at halftime, it's probably drastically different.
Like when they were winning.
Yeah, there were so many games last year that I remember they would hit halftime and I'm like, this game's over.
You had the Legos ready to go.
All right, they'd be up by like 10, but you're like this other team, whoever they are, they're not giving the Eagles anything. This game is over. And not only would they be up by 10, they'd be up by 10, and they were getting the ball to start the second half. And you're like, all right, they're going to put another touchdown on. They'll be up by 17, and we can just pack it in and start, building houses. This season, it's been a little bit different though. They'll be up by 3. They'll have more turnovers. They're not getting the sacks like they did last season at the rate they were. And I told Bob this before the show started. The last 2 games, it seems like there have been so many, almost sacks turned first downs that it seems like if they just could get their hands on the quarterback, they'd have 40 sacks in the last 2 games. But they've just gone about it differently, and I think that's probably been my anxiety level is how it's happened this season as opposed to last season.
I said yesterday, sorry, John, on the pregame show, I said, one of my keys to the game was you can't allow Josh Allen's ad-libbing kill you.
Oh, John, never said that.
And
he never said it?
Never said that.
Okay.
It was just one of the keys to my game. But it did. It killed him. I mean, he got out and ran. He got out and made passes when he got out of the pocket. He did all of those things, and somehow they still won the game. I don't understand.
He's
I just don't
fantastic.
get it.
I mean, he is a fantastic talent.
He's a great talent.
But if he didn't throw that interception, that game changes big time. I mean, that one mistake, that just one cost him a little bit. All right, wait a minute here. Stephanie's on the line. Stephanie, can you give us a how? Come on. How? How is this team 10-1?
I think that when you have, more, especially more than one guy that has this never give up attitude, it's rubbing off on everyone. I mean, it's kind of like when you put rotten fruit, a piece of fresh fruit in with rotten fruit, the fresh fruit's going to turn rotten.
Right.
Well, opposite, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of good guys, a bunch of veteran players, good attitudes, and they just never give up. And, that's part of it. And it's running. And as far as, being down before halftime and then coming back so many times, I mean, I got to say it for myself yesterday. I was just in disbelief that they won that game. But once overtime hit, I don't know.
When Buffalo kicked the field goal, Stephanie, thank you. When they kicked the field goal in overtime, I said the Eagles are winning the game.
I think a lot of people that I was with said the same thing.
I thought the Eagles were winning the game, and I was like, why would I ever think that? But here's one thing I would tell you about why I can give you one how that I have a theory on. Why does this team have that killer, clutch quality to them? Jalen Hurts, SEC. DeAndre Swift, SEC. A.J. Brown, SEC. Devontae Smith, SEC. Jalen Carter, SEC. I mean, Jordan Davis, SEC. I think finally Howie started shopping in the best conference in college football, where you find the best players and buy from stores where they produce winners, where the team wins. When you understand winning, I mean, Bob, you should know this as all the teams you've covered and even coaching, that once an organization or team figures out how to win, it sort of becomes the culture.
Yeah, it's that mentality that we've talked about a lot. Whether it's a winning one or one that you can't get over a hump of something, even though you should be able to. Sometimes it's just, like I say before, sometimes it's just inexplicable. Why? Why are they winning these games? Why did this team not do well against that team? Why does Washington throw the ball so great against the Eagles? There's just, why does the Giants always seem to give up miracles to the Eagles over the years? Why? I don't know. And sometimes you just can't give a reason for it. But this team is laughably good.
All right, when Jake Elliott was lining up for the 59-yarder, Bob thought he'd make it. I'm one of those people that's like, it's painful to watch. Pat, are you do you sort of listen? Do you look away? Do you watch it, just stare right at it?
No, I stared right at it. Stared right into the mouth, the mouth of the of the whale.
Of the beast.
But I was with you in the sense of I was worried about the conditions.
And the wind and the rain.
But I was so confident that he would make it.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty confident he would make it. But I was concerned, though. I mean, they brought up the field goal he made against the Giants, and it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it was perfect conditions. This is crappy conditions. But, yeah, I had faith that Jake would make it.
Nick Sirianni.
Jake. It's Jake now, huh?
Yeah, we're on a first-name basis.
Okay.
Nick Sirianni didn't even watch. Listen.
Nobody I'd rather have in the NFL more than Jake Elliott. Shoot, to me, he's the best kicker in the NFL. He's so clutch. He's so clutch. I guess thoughts of the Washington game were in my mind, right? And we actually showed that clip yesterday. We went through the room and talked to everybody about the contribution. I couldn't hit everybody. One thing I said to Jake was, we're going to need your clutch contribution. Nobody else we'd rather have in the world than Jake Elliott kicking a field goal on that, and he was clutch. I still didn't watch it. I had to get Clay and Fletch pointing at me that day he made it.
Yeah, I laughed at that because I did see when they went to the sideline. He didn't watch. He didn't watch the kick.
No,
That's
I don't
crazy.
think he. I recall that happened before. That the camera was on him on a big kick and he wasn't watching.
All right, you want to get in, and do you have answers for us on how? How is this team 10-1? And already, by the way, we've had 4 different answers. We'll get to yours coming up. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic.
Hey, at FanDuel Casino, we know the only thing better than a win is a free win, and that's why they made Reward Machine. It's the daily free-to-play game that gives you a chance to win up to $2,000 in casino bonus. They've given away over $50 million in free bonuses already. and they're just getting started. Every day at 6 p.m., you get 3 chances to spin the reward machine reels, and there are 3 ways to win. 1, match any 3 symbols for an instant win. 2, collect symbols each day for a chance to win weekly prizes. Or 3, win up to $2,000 if you collect 3 trophies. So what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Casino app by going to FanDuel.com/Bob and start playing Reward Machine today. That's FanDuel.com/Bob. No purchase necessary, 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable casino-only site credit that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/casino. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG.
Fanatic Sports Update.
They did it again. I'm Pat Egan, and this Sports Update is brought to you by Discover. Introducing Discover Cashback Debit, a game-changing checking account with cashback. Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC. I don't know how, but the Eagles, they won again. They're 10-1 after defeating the Bills 37-34. It was not pretty. The Eagles found themselves down by 10 points at the half for the second straight game, but Eagles clawed their way back. Jake Elliott hit a 59-yard field goal to send the game into OT. And with the Eagles trailing by 3 in overtime, Jalen Hurts took it himself and he called game.
And this would be the pedigree of championship teams. Hurts to the end zone, and the Eagles have won it in overtime.
We'll continue to break down the game all morning long. We've got Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds joining us at 8 a.m. to discuss the game. The Sixers are home tonight to take on the LA Lakers. The Sixers currently sit with an 11-5 record, while the Lakers are 10-7. Tip-off for that one is set for 7 p.m., and it's a game you can hear right here on The Fanatic. Flyers are off tonight. They prepare for the Hurricanes tomorrow night at home. I'm Pat Egan on the home of the Sixers, Flyers, and Union 97.5, The Fanatic.
Andrew Salchunas, all things Philadelphia sports. Touchdown! Coming up this morning at 10, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The holidays are here, and if you're making a list and checking it twice, let the Preferred Pros make that list shorter by checking off your home improvement projects. Whether you need experts to help keep your home cozy warm, remove the junk and clutter, or help to keep your holiday gifts safe, we have just the pros for you.
WM Henderson's expert plumbers are available with 24-hour emergency plumbing solutions. They arrive in their fully stocked trucks the same day, guaranteed, or it's free.
Hydroscape Pools, the area's fastest growing fiberglass pool builder, is Hydroscape Pools. Book now and swim next summer. Affordable financing is available, and most pools are completed in about 2 weeks. Schedule a free consultation at hydroscapepools.com today.
Great Railing offers the highest quality vinyl decking, fencing, and railing at discount prices on the Black Horse Pike in Williamstown or online at DallasSucks.com.
Check out Preferred Pros today. This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. For more details on Preferred Pros, visit 975thefanatic.com.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
With Black Friday savings all month long at the Home Depot, you get all the jingle bells and whistles you could wish for with LG appliances. With America's most reliable line of appliances per independent consumer study, you can take holiday doing to holiday done and always be ready to handle last-minute holiday guests. Final days to save up to $900 on select laundry sets, including top brands like LG, with Black Friday savings at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Ends November 29th.
When you switch to Boost Mobile, you can get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G and a pretty powerful way to get after it.
Like me, Tusi, a man who fell in love with music and fell on hard times. From writing songs in my room to sitting on top of the charts. All because I made poetry out of pain. And I always knew I'd be on the stage singing your favorite song.
Switch to Boost and get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone on America's largest 5G networks.
Boost Mobile. Get after it.
New customers only. Taxes extra. One device per line. 5G not available everywhere. Other restrictions apply.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-485-6262. 800-485-6262. 800-485-6262.
No matter what the weather, most of us need to get on the road every day and get going. So we need tires to depend on in any condition. No one understands that better than the dependable people at Mavis Discount Tire. At Mavis, we believe nothing builds more confidence while driving than having the right tires at the right price, so you can confidently handle the road ahead. Roll in for $260 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. Visit us at mavis.com.
The Golf Zone gets it. You want to work on your game and make time for the family. Now you can do both at the Golf Zone in Chester County. With a driving range powered by Top Tracer technology, you can practice with purpose. Stop hitting into nets or screens. At Golf Zone, you get to watch the ball fly. Featuring a 400-plus yard range, real balls, target greens, putting green, and practice bunkers. Have fun with the family at the best mini golf course in the area. Have a blast go-kart racing. There's fun for the whole family. Go to golfzoneproshop.com and start practicing with purpose today.
Cyber Golden Gable deals are going on now at Lowe's. Right now, get the best deals of the season, like up to 40% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees, holiday lights, and more. Plus, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories from brands like DeWalt, Craftsman, and Cobalt. Start shopping today to find these savings in-store and online, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid through 11/27 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
The AAA Eagles MVP membership is in full flight. Eagles MVP members receive all of the amazing benefits of AAA, along with Eagles rewards and experiences no Eagles fans will want to miss. Get discounts at the Eagles Pro Shop, chances to win tickets to every home game, pre-game sideline passes, exclusive invites to MVP events, and more. Join now and new members will get a $20 gift card to the Eagles Online Pro Shop, and you'll be immediately eligible to win Eagles rewards. Go to AAA.com/Eagles for details and join the flock today.
Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. Don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 12/5/2023. New customers with Gigabit Extra Internet, Security Edge, One Voice Mobility Line, and Connection Pro or Wi-Fi Pro with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply. Call or go online for details.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
We're approaching the 7 o'clock hour, and that means that the BetPark Sportsbook app is the one place you need to be looking at, choosing, celebrating. Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, and Maryland. It's the BetParks app. You'll absolutely love it. Get on in on good weekend. Good weekend for me. So I had 2 sort of clunker weekends in a row. So get in on the BetParks app, and we'll be absolutely awesome for you. We asked a simple question. How? And I'm not sure that we found a particular answer, but it seems like everybody has a different answer, which sort of tells me that nobody has an answer. When everybody has a different answer, or could it be that it's just all of those things? How is this team 10-0? 10-1, excuse me. How are they 10-1? Adam and Yardley, I'll put you on the spot. How are they 10-1, Adam?
Hey, good morning to you guys.
Hey, buddy.
They're winners. You just said it right before the break. They're winners, plain and simple.
So you think it's where they're like? You think it's their DNA, where they come from, where they played, that they were playing against the top competition and things like that.
That's 100%. It's college, and now it's in the pros. It's Sirianni. It's the whole team. The other guy, I think, was a little bit right, too, a couple callers ago, where he said it's the bend, don't break. That's the whole team. That's everything about them. They're winners. They bend, but they don't break.
The one thing I got to ask, though, is what happened with Kelsey at the end of the game? He comes up with the biggest block at the end of the game to spring Jalen Hurts, which was amazing. But what were two false starts in a matter of 3 plays for Kelsey's crazy.
Him, I've never seen it. Never seen it before. I was talking to my best friend after the game and saying the same thing. I had never seen him do that before. I thought that was a sign that we weren't in a good situation.
It took a 49-yard field goal and made it a 59-yard field goal.
Our kicker. I mean, come on. Who's ever going to think this guy's going to miss?
He's awesome. I said it a few months ago, and maybe it's a bit premature. He's the best kicker in Eagles history, period. And I'm not dissing David Akers. David Akers is amazing. And David Akers has more data to work off of as the Eagles kicker. Jake Elliott's the best ever. I really believe. I never have the confidence. I've never had the confidence with any kicker in my life like I have with Jake Elliott.
I think I had it with Akers also. This guy's kicked more clutch ones. He's also played on better teams than David Akers did, and Akers played on some really good teams. But, yeah, maybe. I'll tell you what, those 5 plays that happened might be a synopsis of this season. That happened before the field goal. You go false. You're at the Buffalo 34-yard line, and you go false start by Kelsey, a sack, which results in a fumble that you thought was going to Buffalo, but it was overturned, a quarterback sneak that gets you 3 yards that when it was run, we were all like, what the hell kind of a play is that? Another false start on Kelsey, and then an incompletion. Now you're all the way back to the Buffalo 41, and yet you wind up kicking the field goal that ties the game and sending it into overtime.
You know what I was thinking when he ran into the locker room, when he was going in the locker room? That he had to poop. I think at the
Thank you for sharing
he
that
came
with us,
right in
John.
because there was no talk of injury. No talk of injury afterwards or anything. There's no injury.
How about he just had to pee? Let's put it that way.
Well, he could have done that in the blue tent. Because supposedly
you can pee in there. Why can't you poop in there?
You just do that in your pants.
I wasn't thinking of any of those things.
Pat, you do not do that. Don't tell the kids. There's kids that listen.
No, I think it wasn't like Mark Schlereth who would do that.
No,
you're friends with Schlereth.
No, Stink.
So one of them would legitimately just they didn't care. They would just piss.
He would do something like that. But more importantly, is Stink would start with a fresh set of underclothes in training camp,
then just wear them.
And
apologies to people eating breakfast right now.
And never wash them.
Oh well, I mean, and they were your pants, Bob.
And they were his game day. They were his game day clothes, and he would stink. Absolutely stink.
I definitely remember seeing stuff about football players who would drink so much Gatorade and they'd basically a couple of them would say they'd go in the tent and basically pee in a towel or something. But yeah, some of them would just.
Now they have a commode in there.
It's spacious.
So it's a little bit.
They got magazines. They got poopery. Yeah, they got it all.
We have poopery
magazines.
Yeah, they're NFL players.
Hey, Dom is on a cell. Dom, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
How you guys doing today?
Hey, Dom.
What's up, Dom?
You say how's the one? Honestly, I think it's number one thing I look to is the culture that starts with Hurts and Sirianni. You bring up the players and where they come from college. I think that combined with just the precedent that they set over the past 2.5 years. Like, how many times have we gone into a game and we said, yeah, this team is not ready to play? Like, Sirianni always has his guys ready to play. They make mistakes, yes, but when it comes to a point in the game where you feel that the opposing team is keeping them around, kind of like when Buffalo, they were held to a field goal in overtime. You just have this feeling that if the Eagles are the type of team where if you don't put them away, they're good enough and it's in their DNA that they're going to make the plays late in the stretch that's going to win them the game. And
you make Dom, you make one. Go on.
Hmm?
You make one great point there on Nick Sirianni that is huge. I believe he has his team ready to play.
Better.
But how many Eagles teams have we seen? I mean, Andy Reid, I would never say that.
Ready to play. They've been down 10 points at halftime the last 2 weeks. We've been questioning, all right, what's going on here? Why are they waiting until the second half to get it done? 10 points last week, 10 points yesterday.
You put it more on the player or the plan?
I don't know. Ready to play is ready to play. That comes under the spectrum of the coach. Have they been ready the last 2 weeks in the first half? Maybe they were ready, but they sure didn't perform like it. So I don't know if it's player. I don't know if it's coach. If you're going to give credit, you got to, give questions also. I don't know. I do know at halftime of yesterday, I'm sure all of us and many, many of you listening were saying, what the hell kind of an offensive game plan is this today?
I was. Tim McManus afterwards joined Connor and Tom. And by the way, when you're in the parking lots and you're getting ready to drive home and you know you're going to be sitting there for like an hour, I hope you're listening to Connor Thomas and Tom Albert doing a great job on the postgame. Jason Kelsey had this to say to Tim McManus. Tim McManus telling us what Kelsey said about Jalen Hurts.
Really big talking point in the locker room after the game was just how clutch this guy is. And Jason Kelsey was sitting at his locker room stall afterwards, and he's like, I don't think I've ever played with a more clutch player, like a more clutch quarterback. And Jordan Mailata was echoing those sentiments and saying, absolutely, this guy should be the MVP.
The MVP? Can you be the MVP with all the turnovers? I mean, because it's the fumbles, it's the interceptions.
I don't think so, but who is?
That's a great question.
Like,
who?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, my gut reaction is like, no, he really hasn't played to MVP form, and that's, of course, you're thinking about last season and when he did play to MVP form. But this is a down year in the NFL throughout. We talked about the competitiveness of the NFL just isn't really there this year. There's a lot of bad matchups. I don't know who is the MVP. If he's not in the conversation, he's got to be in the conversation.
He's got to be in the conversation.
That, I think if you go to your betting apps, I think he's the favorite.
Well, here's one of the things too is he's got he's on pace for his most passing touchdowns. He's on pace for his most rushing touchdowns. He's on pace for his most passing yards. The only thing is the bugaboo of the turnover. And again, him and it was him and who was the fumble? Who was the fumble yesterday?
Kenny Gainwell.
Gainwell. And I put that on Hurts. I don't put it on Gainwell.
I put that on Hurts.
It was on Hurts,
weird,
right?
Yeah, it was weird.
Trust me, I wanted to just hate tweet about Kenny Gainwell so bad, but
he tried to give Gainwell the ball twice. I've never seen that before.
He double clutched completely.
Yeah, it just was a strange appearance. Now Nick Sirianni talked about the clutchness of Jalen Hurts and especially being able to throw those touchdown passes.
Clutch in clutch moments, right? Really made some big time plays when they mattered the most. None more than the 3 touchdown passes. Hit the Devontae, read the defense perfectly and hit the ball to Devontae on the touchdown. But what an unbelievable throw and catch by OZ and Jalen on the touchdown on the scramble. I mean, my goodness, that was a good play. He made a lot of really clutch plays in that second half, and then the big one obviously at the end right there.
I can't get over the Zacchaeus. That touchdown. You look at the plays and you say, okay, if Jake Elliott doesn't make the field goal, they don't win. That Zacchaeus catch was a freaking great catch.
Yeah, it was.
That was awesome. And that's a happy moment for him, too, to be able to do that. Quez made no impact. They brought Quez back, and he made no impact, except maybe blocking. I don't know. I don't even know how many snaps he got. Maybe you have it in the snap count of how many.
Let me just, and I don't think he called a horrible game, but you activate Quez, right? And you've talked about
snaps for Quez.
Well, that's
yesterday.
nothing, yeah.
You've talked about this, John, that you've got Julio Jones, who's a really good blocker.
Really good blocker.
And you've got Quez, who has really good speed. And instead of having a wide receiver bubble screen with Quez, you decide to do a wide receiver bubble screen with Julio Jones.
3rd and 14, wasn't it?
Instead of having Julio be one of the blockers and have your speed guy, you do like the 97-year-old in football years, Julio Jones. That to me was head scratching.
Whatever Julio can do, Julio can still block.
That's my point.
He'll be able to block till his career is over.
Like, I thought when they brought him in, like, oh, this is great. They kind of got what they were missing in Zach Pascal, and you'll be able to get that bubble screen going with his blocking. But I don't know if they don't realize it's not 2012 anymore.
He's technically sound on blocking. I don't think he might be good for a couple catches a game. But they seem to really appreciate having him around.
He played 71% of their snaps yesterday.
That's wild.
That is absolutely wild, and maybe some of it has to do with the absence of Lane Johnson and Dallas Goedert, that he's in there so much.
That first series, How bad was it? 3 throwaways. I've never seen that. Well, first off, I don't understand. It's pouring rain, windy, and you don't even attempt a run. That to me is just your game plan was to come out and throw. Even though he audibled the first play, I went back and watched it. It looks like he audibled the first play. So maybe he audibled out of a run into a pass?
Yeah,
Pass. It makes no sense.
Well, there's some sense it could be had of it. I mean, they had a safety in Rupp that got hurt the week before. You have 2 corners in Jackson and Johnson that were under concussion protocol. A lot of their defensive backfield wasn't good. Hyde, he was also out. Like, you just had their best defensive back basically going into the game was Rasul Douglas.
Yes.
So, enough said. So you're thinking, okay, huge game for A.J. Brown, target him. But then it's a snap and it's look around. Now, are guys not getting open against that secondary that is full of second and third teamers? That's concerning. Is Jalen Hurts not seeing the guys early on in the game that are open? That's concerning. Are you just running a free-for-all? Like their timing patterns. I think if you're going to come out throwing, it's bang, timing. Here's my slant, here's slant
right, exactly.
there. Big sevens, little sevens, something like that. But it looks like it's just, all right, fake short, go long, make a left at the dodge. It just seems like that's what it is to start the game. And, yeah, that's what gets on your nerves.
Kids today would not get that reference, and everybody like 35 and above knows the reference.
Yeah.
It's amazing because kids don't get to play like that anymore.
No.
I loved playing in the street.
Fake short, go long was always the best play ever.
Except Mr. Winkowski when he would come home from the Acme.
Well, he was an idiot.
He would not. He was a great man, but he would not stop at the stop signs because they put stop signs on our street.
Well, that's when you put a baseball in the back of his windshield.
No, Mr. Winkowski was the best, but he would not stop at stop signs. He refused.
Well, that makes him not the best.
No, he was the best.
No, he wasn't.
He was just crazy. He was a little bit crazy. Hey, Alex is on a cell. Alex, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, buddy? How is this team 10-1, Alex?
Good morning, guys. It's a beautiful day. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you, buddy.
And, of course, John, given the nature that we met, I had to celebrate with Lorenzo's steak yesterday.
Oh, yes. Lorenzo's my men. They're awesome.
Best. Now, to answer your question, I think the reason why they're 10-1 is because if you look at the stats like third down conversion rate, fourth down conversion rate, things that are situationally so important in today's NFL, point differential in the second half, the Eagles are in the top of the league in all of those categories. So I think it has to do with their situational football and how they handle those situations. And they handle them excellently compared to the rest of the league.
I think that might be the best answer I've heard yet. Bob?
Yeah.
And Alex's answer? I think that may be the best one I've heard yet.
Well, third down, 4 for 11 yesterday, not great.
They're not good in 3rd and 7 and above.
They're not good defensively stopping other teams on third down at all. I mean, the last 2 weeks, 13 for 22 and 8 for 17. What's that?
We're talking about. I'm strictly talking about offense. We're
okay.
Offense, and it's third in that situation. Conversion rate, I think, overall for the league for the year is, I think, 48%, which you'll take on any given Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, 48%. this is a team, and Alex, good job, buddy. Thank you. This is a team that is not just there. If you want a conventional victory, you're probably not going to get it. And I don't understand why. I really don't understand why this team can't give you more of what they did last year. I keep hearing the idea, though, that, well, you're going to get everybody's best punch because you're their Super Bowl. Now, I think the Chiefs are everybody's Super Bowl. They're the Super Bowl champions. But I believe in the NFC, people do look at the Eagles as the bully on the block right now.
Yeah, I think Pat and I have talked about this, how we're not big on that. Oh, you're going to get the best of the other team. Really? These are professional football players that go out and play 17 times a year. I think you're pretty much getting their best each week. Either they're trying to give their best each week. Whether it relays into being their best is another story. But, yeah, are the Eagles the best team in the NFL? Yeah. Do teams want to beat the best team in the NFL? Yeah, but they also want to beat the worst team in the NFL, too. Is there some extra motivation there? Maybe. Maybe there is. But there's no question that the Eagles they're the red mark on the calendar when you're going to play them.
Jalen Hurts talked about how did the offense get ignited, and this may annoy Bob.
Again, kind of ignited us. Again, in another game, consecutive week of igniting us and making a big run. And, we found a way. We found a way when it mattered most.
DeAndre Swift. How did the team get ignited? DeAndre Swift. Wouldn't it be interesting to, see if – let's start with DeAndre Swift. Let's let DeAndre Swift, instead of having 3 throwaways in the first possession, how about we have at least one play where DeAndre Swift, who tends to get 4 and 5 yards, like yesterday, his bad runs were like 2 yards, 3 yards. He's still getting you positive, and he gets you yards after contact.
He got the ball in the second half. It was like his first carry of the second half, and they went, DeAndre Swift, 4th carry of the day.
And you yelled at your TV.
Yeah, and
So
I think I knew that he hadn't gotten a lot of them. I mean, the offense was stagnant, but I didn't know it was to that extent where it took until the second half to get his 4th carry of the day.
And then when somebody tries to pitch to me and says, oh, wow, Brian Johnson's not that bad. He really isn't that bad. And I'm like, okay, that's stupid to me. That is not Brian Johnson being stupid. That's stupid play calling. How in the world does he not get more?
You ran the ball. Now, they had limited possessions in the first half because Buffalo dominated the football, as we know. But you ran the ball 7 times with your running back in the first half, and 2 of them went to DeAndre Swift. And 7 times your quarterback ran. Maybe there is a big picture here that we're just not seeing, that they have, that they know, that they want, in that, he's going to be in there 80% of the time come playoff time, and we will sprinkle in a Kenny Gainwell and maybe a Boston Scott. But for now, we're not going to overuse him. Maybe that's their thinking.
No,
I don't know.
I wish you would get Bob, find some way in to be able to poke around and find it written on a whiteboard or something. That we get what the plan actually is. Let's see. Jeff in Wilmington joins us. Jeff, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
What's up, fellas? How are you?
We're doing good. They're 10-1. Are you kidding me?
Dude, honestly, I'm 31 years old. That may be the best comeback game I've ever seen in Eagles history in my lifetime. I'm watching my cousins. We're thinking it's down and out. It's like, what is it? Like 17-7. We're thinking this is going to be a blowout game. They just did not give up. 100%. It's the play calling. That's the difference between this year and last year. And then other miscellaneous factors, Lane Johnson being out. I think that had a lot to do with it.
You did.
Swift not getting enough touches. But Jalen Hurts, man, he knows how to win. That's just what he does. And, and Sirianni said it best last night. They got a bunch of guys from Georgia and Alabama. All they do is win. So that's the standard. And that's all that Hurts wants to keep saying. It's standard. And, he doesn't even know what it is. He doesn't even know what's going on half the time. You ask him questions, he's like, "Oh, I don't even know," because he's reacted in split times. It's amazing. I think it's all about instinct.
He said, if you notice as he's walking, I love it when NFL Films is watching him walk off the field, and they're looking at and they have a close up of his face and everything, and he just goes, "What do you want me to say?"
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? Like, he doesn't even have something to say about how incredible this run's been. How is this team 10-1? And that's what we're asking you. It's 610-632-0975. And also, I'm going to say that this should not be part of your discussion of yesterday's game. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love the AACR. And as a 3-time cancer Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com for flexible spending options on new heating and cooling systems. Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds joins us at 8 o'clock. His great content is online, and you can also have a chance to hear from him, which is going to be great. So we will look forward to talking to Andrew coming up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and I was just watching the touchdown play by Jalen Hurts to end the game. A couple of neat things and one really troublesome thing. Buffalo really came to the right side of Hurts. Like their secondary and linebacker came up and started really overloading the right side of the line of scrimmage for some reason. I guess they thought they were reading something, and maybe that's where the play was supposed to go. I don't know if it was a called quarterback draw or not. It appeared to be because it works so well. But they really overloaded the right side, and he went to the left side. Perfect play. Eagles' balance on that side was far superior to Buffalo's. But their safety, I think the guy Hyde, came over and tried to slide and kick Hurts down.
Oh, yes, he did.
I mean, that's bad. The one thing that I noticed was the other guy that was there on the kind of made a business decision, like, game over. I'm not trying to make this tackle. Kind of let up a little bit.
Jalen's about to make me a poster.
Yeah, I didn't notice the slide and then the kick attempt on Hurts. That might be a finable thing.
Well, I have a feeling an ejection, not an ejection, but a suspension's going to come where I'm drawing a blank. Shaq Lawson pushing a fan in the stands.
Yeah.
First of all, engaging.
I thought it was Phillips.
I thought it was Shaq Lawson.
Well, I thought it was Phillips. I thought it was
okay.
97.
Double check
Shaq
for
Phillips.
me. I thought it was Shaq Lawson.
Well, somebody, yeah, one of the two.
To put hands on a fan, that should be a suspension, flat out. And more importantly, people are like, the fan had his face right in his face, and I'm like, the Buffalo fans, and I'm like, it was during the game. During the game, you have such simpletons on your sidelines that they're literally going to go over and get in the face of a fan? Ignore the bull crap. Ignore it. Come on. There is one thing that should never happen yesterday. And one of our great friends who's doing a great job, he does a great job in the postgame, Mr. Connor Thomas, did it. Complaining about the officials on the roughing the passer call. Are you freaking kidding me? There was never a game that I can remember where the Eagles got more benefit of the doubt and got more ticky-tack calls in their favor yesterday than that one. And including, I'm on the fence on the A.J. Brown. I think that could easily have been, I think if it was ruled a fumble on the field, they would have ruled it a fumble in replay.
Initially, I thought, no way.
Right. I did too.
Replay, I thought, you can make the case, and then I thought, yeah, but it was ruled incomplete on the field, so that's too much to overturn. My thumbs were all ready to fire off about the refs with that roughing the passer call, and then they showed the replay,
and it's the letter of the law.
He makes an effort to kind of throw his arm out and
push him down.
Yeah, and throw him down. So it's like, all right, I can't really complain.
It's by
about
the letter of the
one.
law. That's a roughing the passer.
The Eagles got away with the Darius Slay call, that should have been pass interference. He was holding them, and he was all over him. Yeah, they've gotten footage. I saw a Warren Sharp tweet that was going around about how the Eagles lucked out with Sean Hockley as the ref, and my response to that is I hope Sean Hockley is doing the Super Bowl.
I really will. That'd be great.
Buffalo had 10 penalties in the first half, 1 for the rest of the game.
By the way, it was Shaq Lawson.
It was okay.
It was Shaq Lawson who touched the fan. That honestly should be a suspension.
Yeah, you can't
touch a fan like that.
But that's our buddy Jamie brought up the point on Twitter, and it's a good one. It's why the number 1 seed is so important, because you can see the game going on in the background.
Yes.
Like the game is still going on. That's how much the Eagles fans can, in a way, impact and get in the head of the opponents. And that's why the number 1 seed and getting home field advantage is so important. But luckily, and we even talked about this, the thing I was most thankful for in Thanksgiving was the Packers.
Oh, the Packers helped big time.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, that was good. I think the Lions are leaking oil. They had that big comeback to beat the Bears, where they were down by 12 with 4 minutes to go. They came back and beat the Bears. I think the Lions are coming back a little bit to earth, but they're going to be the 3 seed. So, I honestly got to tell you right now, if I said to you, to get to the Super Bowl, you have to beat, so to get to the Super Bowl, you have to beat the Seahawks at home, the Lions at home, and potentially travel to the Eagles. Or if I said to you, you have to beat the Cowboys and beat the 49ers. What's the easier path? Cowboys 49ers is too tough for games. That number one seed may not be as valuable except for the rest.
Well, the home field is the most value.
So you think that's the most value?
Oh, God,
home
yeah.
field.
Oh, absolutely. The rest is great, yeah, sure, but I'll take playing at home over rest any time.
And two games.
Yeah.
The 2-game thing is always a good one. Hey, let's see here. Alex in Havertown joins us. Alex, what's going on, brother? How is this team 10-1?
I mean, it's truly a week-by-week thing in my eyes, and I think, plays have slipped out of, the Chiefs' hands. Valdez-Scantling drops that ball. It's like, in my eyes, you can take it down to one play. I mean, we have the kicker that went out in the rain and hit a 59-yarder. Like, he hit it into the wind. It looked like a golf shot. Like, this thing was amazing.
It didn't have like the arc that you would normally expect. It just had drive.
He hit like a low cut, and it was like perfect. Like, how do we have our kicker? I mean, Devontae Smith said it perfect at the end. Or at the end, he was like, the reporter asked in the locker room, "Do you watch the kick go in?" He goes, "I watch it every time because I know Jake is going to hit it. I want to watch him hit it." Like, when you have that confidence in a kicker that we're not scrambling for a new kicker every offseason, like, I never have a doubt about Jake Elliott. If it's within 65 yards, and especially if it's a clutch moment, he's going to hit the kick.
Well, 50.
Wait, don't hang up yet. Alex, what's your handicap?
Oh, I'm a bad golfer. Best I ever shot is 91, Paxton Hollow Golf Course. No.
Oh, Brumo's favorite.
And the reason I asked, and Alex, appreciate it, that was a good call, is he said he hit a low cut. That's a golf term. Like, for some people might not recognize it, but yeah, I thought for sure he was like an avid golfer. But Jake Elliott, yeah. The feeling I had when he came out yesterday went right to overtime. It wasn't, oh, my God, is he going to make or miss this? It really was, Can they win this in overtime? And then when Buffalo kicks the field goal. Oh, by the way, did you guys see this on Twitter or whatever, the coin toss for overtime?
When Brandon Graham?
That's just cool. Like,
yeah, he's the man.
He's just cool. Like, that is.
By the way, are we celebrating Brandon Graham today, too?
Yeah,
that's the longest tenured Eagle ever, like most games.
Here's what's more impressive about that. It's the fact that, he passes David Akers as a kicker. The longevity of kickers, they'll play till their 40s. But to me, what's more impressive about it is the fact that he started his career and he was injured for the majority of his first 2 seasons.
And labeled a bust by many people.
Oh, yeah. Well, he wasn't playing well, but he was playing out of position. They kind of had him in this linebacker defensive end hybrid role. But he was, he was injury prone the first 2 years. And then, 2 years ago, he blows out his Achilles. Like, he's basically missed 3 full years, and he was still able to pass David Akers. Like, that to me is wild.
He's amazing. And more importantly, he's an amazing guy, too. Like, he's an amazing ambassador for the sport, for your franchise, for the community. It's unbelievable. And now you got a bunch of guys right on his backside, right? That are coming up on this, that are also have a ton of games.
Kelsey's right there.
Kelsey's right there.
Where's Kelsey at?
Kelsey's got to be close. I mean,
he's been playing for a decade.
They're both, all-time Eagles games. I mean,
Kelsey's consecutive game streak keeps going.
It's unbelievable.
Like 150-ish.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing that they hit on those guys the way they did to the point where a decade later they're still playing and at a high level. I mean, Fletcher Cox too.
Let's see here. Brandon Graham 189. David Akers is holding at 188. Jason Kelsey hits David Akers next week.
Oh wow.
And Jason Kelsey will be ahead of David Akers in the Cowboys game. He'll be second all time. Fletcher Cox is right on their tail. Fletcher Cox is only 4 behind Jason Kelsey. Brian Dawkins, who is held in they're now past Brian Dawkins.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
Good drafting.
These numbers. By the way, you're Trey Thomas, 166.
It's all Andy Reid.
Brent Selleck, 175.
Well, Trey Thomas wasn't Andy Reid. That was Ray. But still. The majority of those guys, Andy Reid.
But right there, so Brandon Graham's going to have the record, and then he's not going to have the record, right?
Yeah.
Or you never know.
It's going to be like when Keith Yandel had the Iron Man streak in the NHL, and then it was passed 2 weeks later by Phil Kessel.
A lot of people knew Jason Kelsey, believe Jason Kelsey's going to retire. But I'll tell you this, there's one thing we said yesterday, and Pat, I know I heard you say it on Twitter. I heard it in your voice when I read it.
Appreciate that.
I often hear Pat's voice in my head.
That's scary.
It's troubling.
Is that, God forbid, when Lane Johnson retires.
It's a dark thought that I've had a lot recently.
It's scary as hell.
Probably since I listened to Uncovering the Birds, the Jimmy Kempski podcast, which is really good.
Really
not Jimmy
good.
Kempski, Jeff McClain
Right,
podcast.
Jeff
I
McClain.
apologize. But yeah, when it first got mentioned how like he was seriously contemplating retirement, and it's something me and you, John, have talked about a lot, that it wasn't looking great there for a bit. It looked like he was going to hang him up. I don't know where this team goes. Like obviously, yeah, you draft a guy, right? But he's a guy that's been so good for so long that like we might honestly take him for granted at times.
Would the
because
tush
it's just he's been there.
Does the tush push work if you lose either Kelsey or you don't have Elaine Johnson?
I don't even want to think about that. I mean, I think if you lose one, it works. And I say that because they didn't have Lane yesterday and it worked. If you lose both, that's a tall test.
I mean, it really is.
And especially considering where they're drafting. They're going to be drafting in the back end of the draft. Now, they do have assets if they wanted to move up in the draft. Let's say a tackle were to drop. But it's something that they got to plan for sooner rather than later because Jack Driscoll, first play of the game, I mean.
Oh, my God.
Right around him.
Outside
turn
move,
style.
and it's just
that was terrible.
Barely touched him.
Yeah, like he's
barely touched him.
Depth-wise, I've always thought he was a guard. I didn't think he was a tackle, but he's all they got right now, so they got to develop somebody. Figure they do that through the draft, but
He's all they got, but he's not all they need. Is what I was thinking yesterday. It doesn't hold.
When we had Tim on, I was like, dude, who's the backup to him at this point?
Oof.
And they got to do something.
Restock the shelves on that one a little bit.
But I would love if they took an right tackle in the draft, and let's say Lane comes back for one more year, and that guy can learn under him.
I don't think Lane's leaving this year.
No, I don't think so either.
But I think Kelsey is.
If you win the Super Bowl, it's hard to go, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this.
Could be. Unless you want that mullah. Hey, one of our jurors is here. Karen B is being sworn in with her hand on the Bible. And Karen, I need to know, how's this team 10-1? What's your analysis?
I have no freaking idea.
Oh, that's always good. That's always good.
I don't know because, to be honest, John, each game is different. So I don't know. I'm going to say it's because I put my flag out. I have no idea.
So it really is. I mean, it's as confusing to you as it is to us today.
It really is. And you know what? If we could just play 4 quarters so I don't have to bite my nails down to the quick, I'd really appreciate that. It's just, look, we came back from a 10-point deficit again 2 weeks in a row. We're a true Philly team. We're tough, resilient, gritty. And, John, you can forget the style points this year.
Yeah, I have to. If you notice, Tuesday and today, I have not even brought them up because I have to. I have to stay away from it.
I know. I was laughing. I was listening. I thought, nope, he's not saying it.
Nope, I'm not because I think I've learned my lesson for this year, Karen. And good job. We'll talk to you next week after that 49er game. But that's where I'm sitting, Bob, is that I have not brought up the style points because I have to say to myself in my head, I even have it in my notes right here, no style points talk. It doesn't matter. Because with this year's team, it doesn't matter for whatever reason.
Yeah, it hasn't mattered.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah, you have to worry that at some point it might matter. And, okay, style points means that Valdez-Scantling misses a wide-open touchdown. It means that yesterday Buffalo has a wide-open receiver who just drops a pass also. Those are eye test things that, okay, the Eagles passed, but by a slimmest of margins. And when I said it earlier, and Pat's like, stop, don't talk about it. I hear you, and I'm not trying to be, but that is part of the bad eye test that we have to include in there. Why? You've been saying it all morning to every caller. Why? Why are they 10-1?
What is the answer?
Why are other teams not catching wide open touchdowns? Why are things just going the Eagles' way all the time that lead to a win? A lot of it has to do with their talent, their resiliency, all of those things that we put in the positives. But some of it does have to be kind of inexplicable.
Plus,
in that
we're good people.
Why are other teams dropping balls? Why are other teams falling like a half of inch short of a goal line? Why are the Eagles getting a call when a guy's hand is underneath a guy's knee that he's not? Like, just craziness abound has been part of this season.
I think Marcus Hayes is in today's Inquirer was the first one to put pen to paper or whatever electronically to write it. Destiny. I think he's the one that wrote the word destiny. That, I hate that because I just, like, I don't like that explanation, but I'm just too logical. Like, I just want logic, and I'm not finding it. And I think that that's what's so frustrating is I keep waiting. I hear about this standard over and over again. The standard. When the hell are we going to see the standard? Like, we're 11 games in now. There's only 6 left. One of them may not mean anything. Maybe 2 won't mean anything. If you beat the 49ers on Sunday, the NFC's over. NFC's over if you can beat the 49ers. To me, it's like, come on. Like, I want to see the standard. Show me it. Show me what it looks like.
Well, maybe he'll never reach it because his standard is so high of himself.
The whole team, though. How about the whole team?
Yeah, well, maybe the standard is from their leader, Jalen Hurts, is him going 25 for 25, is every running back goes over 100, is there's no drop passes, obviously, and everybody gets open and the blocking schemes all work. Maybe, just maybe, that's his standard. So being reached probably won't happen in his career. Okay, that's fine. If you're looking for perfection, we all are. You're always looking for perfection in sports. You're never going to reach it, never, ever going to reach it. But to strive for it, okay, I'll take that. It's going to be annoying to listen to him for the next 10 years, but,
As long as he's 10-1, you can listen to him all day long.
Yeah.
Hey, Jalen Hurts after the game may have fibbed. I think he did fib about the player that he decided to throw a bouquet of roses towards.
It was another gutsy win for us, another gutsy win. Jack stepped in and played a hell of a game, being put on the spot. And this isn't the first time that this has happened. This happened in 2021 versus the Chiefs, and he came in and played a great game as well. And so, it's being ready, having an opportunity. And I know as a competitor, Jack was ready for that opportunity after how the Jets game went, and he played a hell of a game this time around.
Nick Sirianni doubled down on the praise of Jack Driscoll.
We have a ton of confidence in Jack Driscoll. And Jack Driscoll, I haven't seen the tape, but I have a feeling that he played an outstanding game because of just the way the game was going and the rush and all those different things.
I will give Jack Driscoll credit on the 1 point. He didn't know till 11:35 yesterday.
Yeah, if I was someone down at the press conference, I think my question tomorrow or wherever, or I guess Sirianni talks today, would be, okay, how do you handle 11:30 to 4 o'clock? Is it you and Brian Johnson totally scratching the game plan? Is it saying, no, Jack, you just got to do it and going over with him what his responsibilities are? Did you change anything?
See, that's what I wonder about, whether they did or not, because maybe that was the problem in the first half.
Well, there's multiple problems. Jalen Hurts isn't very good at throwing the football going to his left. He's very good going to his right. Well, Jack Driscoll's given up too many guys getting close on the right side, so you kind of want to avoid that side. Can you scratch it all and come up with a new game plan in just a couple of hours? Probably not. It probably more so, I would assume, like, all right, this is your job, Driscoll. You have to go with it today. We can't change everything that we've already put in, so just be sure of this, that, and the other, and make sure that he's ready to go.
Connor and Tom, after the game, talked to Tim McManus, our own Tim McManus from ESPN, and he said that there is one strength of this team that is very, very evident.
Really look at it as like Johnson got the hot hand here. I think that, adjustments were made, though. That's part of what has been a strength of this team, I feel like, on both sides of the ball, is that even if game plans don't pan out the way that they anticipate, usually in the second half, they find a way of like, all right, well, let's make these adjustments. And they figured it out. We've seen the defense do that. Like the 2 weeks prior to that, they had held the Cowboys and the Chiefs to 6 points total in the second half. So you're seeing the adjustments there, and I think that the offense in turn did that on this day.
Okay, adjustments I think are clear. You have to say that the Eagles are pretty good with adjustments because they've done that.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts alone in the second half, something like 14 for 20, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns. You made that adjustment. You only gave the ball to DeAndre Swift to carry 2 times in the first half, wound up with 14 carries. Those, to me, don't seem to be huge adjustments. It seems to be common sense adjustments, like have your best running back run the football more than twice.
I yell at the TV every week. I yell at it every week, and I'm told, they can't hear you. I don't understand it. I don't understand one of your best weapons. Go, no, we're not going to use it.
Yeah.
Not going to use them.
The question was asked yesterday. I don't know if it was where I was or if I read it on Twitter. Is Brian Johnson holding this offense back? And it's almost a laughable question in that wow, if he is. I'm not laughing at him saying
No. I got
it's
you.
laughable to me. Like, wow, if the answer is yes, is he holding this team back from averaging 35 points a game? I don't know, but it's a pretty damn good offense.
Let's see what Dante in the Northeast has to say. Sworn in, hand on the Bible, one of our jurors. Dante, how is this team 10-1? Can't figure it out.
Everything Nick Sirianni said. Resilient, tough, dogs. You guys just hit adjustments. The second half adjustment they made to hit the outside zone and run behind Mailata. Those are the very few things I could think of.
That was nice to see, by the way. Running behind Mailata. Because we don't see a ton of that.
Yeah, and then, Kelsey late in the game with the 2 penalties and then making up for it in overtime. I don't know if you guys are going to go back and watch it, but watch that run by Jalen Hurts. That game-winning block by Jason Kelsey
was awesome.
That game-winning block was beautiful. Love Kelsey. Going into the game, Bob, if you could remember, I called you when John was out maybe a week or 2 ago that I didn't think they were going to win this game. I thought this was a track game, short week, coming off of Kansas City, a win. And you're going to have to follow this week up with Brock Purdy and San Fran. And, they've been talking way too much this whole offseason. So I didn't really have as much expectation than going into the game. You see Lane Johnson was out with the hip injury, or the groin injury, pardon me. I don't know how they did it. I mean, I don't either. Can't be no negative Nancy today. I'm just happy we won.
Correct. Everybody's got to celebrate today. Thank you, Dante.
Yeah, no, you can't be negative. It's another one of those throw your arms up in the air and just say, I don't know. But 10-1 is 10-1, and that's the great thing about it. That last play, and Dante said, I don't know if you guys are going to rewatch it again. I can't wait to rewatch this game, and I'll probably do it this afternoon because of all the little things that went on inside the game. And he made a great point. There was a couple of times in the first half where they were running the ball to the right side, and you're just saying, why? Like, what are you doing? You have Kelsey, Dickerson, and Mailata over on your left side.
And they did.
Go run behind the fat boys.
Sometimes running behind Mailata is not the best, though, compared to running it on the right side.
I'll take my chances with
exactly.
Driscoll blocking as opposed to Mailata.
All right, Sean in Swedesboro has something to say. Sean, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning. I was recently diagnosed with this rapid heartbeat, and I'm suing the Eagles, I think.
Well, then how? Crazy. How's this team 10-1, Sean?
The doctor says, can you remember what you're doing when this happens? I said, yeah, it's Sunday afternoon. Crazy.
It doesn't happen the rest of the week.
I just wanted to see if anybody is looking at the touchdown to win the game, how Razoo Douglas doesn't even make any attempt to step up and tackle Jalen Hurts. Go back and look at it.
I was just talking about it, Sean. You're exactly right. He made like a business decision, didn't he?
Yes. Now, listen. Now, here it gets worse, guys. It gets worse. Recently, there was a quote in Green Bay while he was with Green Bay saying that he's not paid to make tackles.
Wow, that's bad.
That is unbelievable. He should be released today, but they probably are short-handed.
Very short-handed.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
But if they released him today, the Eagles would sign him. They need bodies. I don't think they're getting Shaq Leonard, by the way, Pat.
We talked to Tim McManus before the game, and it was interesting. So we had Shefty on last week. I brought up the connection of Shaq Leonard and here, and did it make sense? And at first, Shefty's like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And then fast forward 3 hours later, and Shefty's like, well, there's interest from Philadelphia.
Well, the Eagles would have interest whether he is, because here's the bad news for you. Good source telling me he's visiting Dallas.
He can visit Dallas all he wants. Does he want to win a championship or not?
Well, he's visiting Dallas, so obviously he might not
visit.
But he might. So his ties to here don't seem to be mattering.
Well,
I thought they would.
Maybe he visits and then maybe he goes, I want to try this thing called winning. And then he decides, I could probably do that in Philadelphia.
We gotta get you on the phone.
I do wonder if there's anybody, and I was trying to think of like an Indianapolis connection that's not Nick Sirianni, but like a player, because I found it interesting that when Kevin Byard got traded here, the first thing that you heard from the locker room angle was A.J. Brown saying, now you're a winner.
Exactly.
And I wonder if that can kind of get to Shaq Leonard a little.
Well,
Hopefully it gets
Cunningham
on.
got hurt yesterday too.
He did.
So
And
there's
it's
an
a
opening there.
Hamstring.
I don't
which
know
is
where.
scary.
Yeah. Dean still has a couple of weeks to go.
He can't. He's not.
And he
out-
had surgery, so that's not going to happen. So if there's a time for it, today might be the day.
All right, coming up, I want you to hear from Tim McManus, where he defends, I think, the indefensible. But Tim McManus knows a hell of a lot more, being there day in, day out. We'll hear that. We'll react to it. Plus, Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds gives you the scoop on what he saw, what the film says, and more importantly, maybe he can answer the question of the morning. How? How is this team 10-1? We'll get to it next. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. Absolutely love it. Pro football, college hoops, fly.
official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
A Football Monday on The Fanatic, presented by Pierce Phelps Bryant, heating and air conditioning contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com. You're going to get flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. Pat, I want to make you got Andrew's number, right? I got to make sure. I didn't even check with you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. If he calls, he calls. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
No, he won't be calling. We're going to call him.
If he calls,
I think DiCecco's listening right now, so I know that, which is good.
No, I get calls.
Andrew is coming up at 8
we'll
o'clock, which is going to be great. Tim McManus was on yesterday afternoon. Connor and Tom doing a great job of bringing you the flavor and the immediate reaction after Eagles games. And Tim McManus had this to say: I think defending almost the indefensible.
Really look at it as like Johnson got the hot hand here. I think that, adjustments were made, though. That's part of what has been a strength of this team. I feel like on both sides of the ball is that even if game plans don't pan out the way that they anticipate, usually in the second half they find a way of like, all right, well, let's make these adjustments. And they figured it out. We've seen the defense do that. Like the 2 weeks prior to that, they had held the Cowboys and the Chiefs to 6 points total in the second half. So you're seeing the adjustments there, and I think that the offense in turn did that on this day.
Here's what I'm going to say to this: if you keep having to trash your game plan and redo it and make adjustments, that means the other team's game plan was better than yours. Why is that not a talking point? It means week after week, your game plan is inferior to your opponents. You're the one having to change. You're the best team in the NFL. You are the best, arguably the best roster in the NFL.
Maybe that's why. Because you're the one making the better adjustments.
Yeah, but why is your initial game plan when you have the most loaded deck going into the game? You are the best team in the NFL. You have a great roster. Why is your game plan that you come out with not the superior one?
Well, it has been at times. We've talked about it. We've come out and said, look, oh, my God, when he scripts the first 15 plays, look how well they do. They score on their first possession an awful lot. So we have talked about that. So it has been that at times. It hasn't been recently. But then we have to go to, well, then why are they winning? Because are they the ones making the better adjustments? Is that why they're the best team in the NFL? Because you're down 10 at halftime against two of the better teams in all of the NFL the last 2 weeks, and you came back and made adjustments and won those games. Maybe that's the positive way of looking at it, as opposed to why are they coming out and not dominating to begin with when they seemingly have the better roster?
Well, then I'm going to give you the more disturbing thing then. Why is it happening now? Dallas, Kansas City, Buffalo. The good teams. The good teams. That all of a sudden now, when you're facing these good teams, this is coming up. That you have to make these dig out of a hole adjustments. You're getting your game plan is not working, and you have to change things up. That scares me, Pat, because we're playing the good teams right now. Even though they're winning, they won, and they found their way to win. It still concerns me that right off the bat, for whatever reason, they don't seem to be able to answer the bell.
It doesn't concern me. I actually feel good. Only because I expect a close game with the good teams. If this were a game against Washington, if it was a game against New York, if this is a game, against Carolina, the Jets, I'm frustrated as hell.
And we saw that with two with Washington and one with the Jets.
Yeah, and I say that because you come out of those games, Sans, there you go, boys. Sans, the Jets game, you come out of it and you go, this isn't going to work against the good teams. And what we're finding out is, I don't know how, but it is working against the good teams.
Does it, though?
It is. It's working. They're winning.
No, but the thing is, though, their initial game plan is what I speak of. Their initial game plan has to be trashed.
It probably does. Like, I'm as frustrated as the next guy. I mean, Brian Johnson coming out of the half, but that ain't it. I don't know what to tell you. It's just like, I don't know what you're doing. It's just not it. But to them, it's like they're probably going with if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. And we're looking at it as it's broke, and they're looking at it like, how's it broke if we won? I get you. I don't know if I can complain if they're.
You can. I mean, because do you think it's going to come back to bite you at some point?
Yeah, and it might. Like if they lose next week, You know, I mean, it's probably going to be because of one of the things that we've talked about today. One of the things we've seen the last couple of weeks. But they haven't yet. So until that happens, I guess I'm going to be okay.
Well, before we get to Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds, I want to get one more of our jurors in. E-Rock has his hand on the Bible. He's ready to go. E-Rock, I saw you after the game. You had a look of just wow on your face.
I am alive. Listen, these phone calls, I got to apologize in advance. These phone calls started to get a little repetitive because every week I didn't know how they continued to win. And every week I complained about how hard it was. And every week I would say, they're taking years off of my life. John, you know this better than anybody in the room because you stand death in the face and death back down. Ladies and gentlemen and listening audience, we are all going to die someday.
Yes.
But have you ever truly lived? Have you ever lived? Have you ever felt goosebumps up and down your arm bigger than hills? Have you ever felt electricity going up your spine when the hairs on the back of your neck stand up powerful enough to generate the electricity in the stadium? Brian Johnson, get your act together, because the only thing preventing this team from marching straight to the Super Bowl come hella high water is what's on your play sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, I am alive!
Okay, that was awesome. E-Rock, we love you. We'll see you Sunday.
If you're on the jury and you haven't called yet just call up next week.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
that was
the best jury call we've ever had.
That was unbelievable.
I missed seeing him yesterday. I told him.
E-Rock wasn't there yesterday.
Nah, he's a guy that when you see, man, I don't know about anybody else, but when I see him, it just brings a smile to my face.
It's the same thing. He brings a smile to my face.
It does. He just he's got this great
energy.
outlook, and he's such a good dude.
Yeah.
And yesterday we were mid-show, I guess, and it just popped into my head like, damn, we didn't see E-Rock today, and it kind of brought me down a little bit.
He has more.
But then I looked over and I saw you, and I was all right.
You guys looked cold in the pictures I saw.
A little bit.
It was chilly.
A little chilly day.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm hoping global warming kicks in next Sunday.
Let's hope it does. At this point, hey, the Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. So, Andrew, I ask you the question of the morning because you're supposed to be the bright insider guy, and everybody at Inside the Birds is always giving us that insider scoop. How is this team 10-1? If you had to 10-1, if you had to put your finger on something, what is it? And good morning to you, buddy.
Good morning, John. Good morning, team. Good to be with you guys. You know, John, if I had to simplify things, I would say this Eagles team does not flinch. It's been their winding path to victories that sort of forged this unflappable DNA, and it starts with Jalen Hurts. This team finds ways to win when their back's against the wall. They believe in the play calling. They believe in their coach, and they find ways to get it done. You know, it looked pretty dire in that first half, but Jalen Hurts was able to string together. He rolled up 5 touchdowns, or he counted for 5 touchdowns, threw for 3 in the second half, and the Eagles were the better team when it mattered late in the game.
Andrew, have we seen the best of the Philadelphia Eagles yet this year, or is that still something out there to be gotten?
That's a tough question. I don't believe so, but this is kind of who they are. They're a team look, last year was sort of an anomaly in which they just steamrolled the entire NFL, and I think that spoiled a lot of folks, whereas this year they're finding ways to win. They are making teams play them differently. They're putting unique stretches on defenses, and their quarterback is delivering in money situations and taking the next step in his evolution. And defensively, you have a lot of moving pieces. We'll get to that in a second. I'm sure the defensive line's really banged up, linebackers banged up, but Sean Desai continues to maximize his personnel, put guys in position to be successful. But this is kind of who they are.
Are you a believer that Brian Johnson is not part of the problem? Well, I'm looking at the first half in the last 3 games, for example, where they say, yeah, we had to sort of scrap the game plan, change it up, and go about doing different things. I thought we were the team that was supposed to dictate to other teams when you have the best roster in the NFL, when you're the NFC champions. What am I missing there, and what am I maybe being too harsh about?
Well, it's fair to include Brian Johnson in some of the shortcomings in the first half, John, but I think he's largely been unfairly maligned. And he was part of the issue, but you can also add in the fact that Jack Driscoll was thrown in there at right tackle, which really hampers sort of your offensive plans. And Jalen Hurts threw for 33 yards and an interception and was only 4 of 11 in the first half. I mean, that's doesn't have to be, you don't have to be, a brain surgeon to say that that's not good and that's not good enough to get it done. So it was sort of an amalgam of those three things, which really lend itself to a stagnant offensive performance in the first half. And you also have to give credit to Brian Johnson for being able to piece it together at halftime and completely revamp the whole offensive infrastructure and get things rolling, because if you're going to give him some blame, you also have to give him some credit.
What was that SAT word you showed off with? Amalgam?
Yeah.
Yeah, stop with the SAT words. Do you not listen to the show? Seriously.
Andrew, how do you think it goes? They get to the stadium, 11:30 in the morning, you find out that Lane Johnson isn't a go. You have the game plan put in since probably Wednesday. How does it go about with Brian Johnson, with Nick Sirianni, with Jeff Stoutland, and with whatever replacement you're deciding to go with when it comes to Lane Johnson? What do those hours look like, do you think?
Yeah, that's what made me most curious, Bob. So I got a chance to talk to Jack Driscoll, and when did you find out you were starting? And he said it was about 11:30, 12 that Jeff Stoutland called him and said, "Be ready just in case Lane can't go." So you completely have to throw your game plan. Not necessarily, I don't want to say throw it out the window, but as a backup, you have to be ready at a moment's notice. You also have to prepare as if you are going to start, because things like this can sort of appear out of nowhere. And I think that the Eagles, look, the first 3 plays they passed. So I don't know that they completely scrapped their game plan knowing that they had a new right tackle in place. I think they believe in all their players. They think that they can plug them in and the offense is going to continue to chug along. So, but from a continuity standpoint, Bob, I would say that Jack Driscoll has started before, so it's not completely foreign, but playing beside, if you're Cam Jurgens, playing beside Jack Driscoll and the communication in that regard, the first play of the game you saw a little bit of early turbulence with Leonard Floyd getting some pressure there. But largely, I think that Jack Driscoll, that is, acquitted himself pretty well in the game.
Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds has fantastic content for you throughout the week, as does the entire team at Inside the Birds. And he joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline after the Eagles go to 10-1 with a 37-34 victory over Buffalo. The gauntlet. A lot was made of the gauntlet. So what do you think of the gauntlet so far, and what does it tell us about looking ahead this weekend to the 49ers?
The Eagles continue to pass each test, put a check mark next to it, and then this next week obviously is the big litmus test with the San Francisco 49ers coming in, the highly anticipated rematch. But you have to give the Eagles a lot of credit for finding different ways to win when it looked like they pretty much snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat right there. And I think that really is a telltale sign of a battle-tested football team that it might not seem like much now, but when you get further into the season, John, you delve into the postseason, these wins and these moments and these opportunities really come to the forefront, and particularly with Jalen Hurts. Lamine Zakia said it best yesterday. And on that final drive, he said nothing had to be said.
Meaning you just knew it was going to happen?
Meaning you infer there he didn't offer anything extra after that.
Right.
But the inference there is that you've been in these situations before. You're going to find a way to win. You're going to dig deep and trust in each other that you're going to be able to get the job done, because they've done it before, because they've been able to stack these wins when many have probably counted them out and it hasn't looked great on the surface sometimes.
So, Andrew, I often talk about in sports, you're always looking for perfection. And perhaps that's why we dissect a team that's 10-1 as much as we do. But there's still some things, to be discussed out there on this 10-1 team. What concerns you most right now?
I think the slow starts, the lack of cohesiveness offensively, because they haven't been able to really piece together, at least the last 2 weeks. There just doesn't seem to be this flow offensively. And some of that can be attributed to the play caller, but I also think that execution hasn't always been where it needs to be. So it's a two-part blame there. I don't know that one person should be shouldering that blame. You'd like to see them lean on the running game a little bit more. I think DeAndre Swift, he had 57 yards in the second half, which, if you imagine what you would have seen out of him if they leaned on him in the first half. But you'd like to see a little more consistency throughout. Then defensively, I think Sean Desai is really doing all that he can. And, the pass rush is a little bit concerning to me because a lot of those Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick are logging a ton of snaps. You look at the snap counts, that's sort of that's been that way for the past few weeks. So I don't know that you can get much more out of what you have there, but I think offensively is where I would pinpoint it.
Andrew, tell me if I'm incorrect, because I will not be offended in the least, and I know that I probably am 5-10 times a week. If you have to sort of manipulate your game plan, change your game plan, make these big halftime adjustments, that tells me that your initial game plan has been countered by the opposition superiorly. I'm concerned about that. It seems like we're constantly talking about second-half adjustments that we have to make while we're the NFC champions. We got one of the best rosters in the NFL. I don't understand that part of it.
Right, but I'd also say that being able to coach your way out of that speaks to the quality of coaches. This is in Brian Johnson's case here is this is his 11th game, right? And I think sometimes you want that instant gratification, and it doesn't always happen that way. There's going to be growing pains, and I think him being able to coach his way out of it really speaks to where he's at right now, 11 games into his career. But also, I got a lot of this yesterday. The Eagles opening the game with 3 straight passes. Well, the Buffalo Bills were completely undermanned. Their secondary was decimated. They had Rasul Douglas. They had Christian Benford from Villanova starting there. So, I mean, you should be trying to exploit that. You should be trying to get an early lead before the rain really picks up, and then you don't know, and then the game's sort of out of control because it's really, then you saw the weather yesterday. It was a torrential downpour. Pat and Bob were there. They can speak on that. So I think that's sort of and then you sort of have to scrap that and go back to the drawing board because you saw how the Bills were playing you. So I think it was more of a strategic move by Brian Johnson. Yes, there were some early hiccups, but you have to tip your hat to him being able to make those adjustments.
Andrew, is there some talk among offensive and defensive, in this case, Sean Desai, Brian Johnson, where maybe Sean Desai goes over to Brian Johnson and says, "Yo, dude, I'm about to have my defense out there for 92 plays today. Can you maybe run the ball a little bit more and try to hold on to the football so my guys can get some rest?" Do you think, and obviously I'm exaggerating, but does some kind of talk like that go on during a game, do you believe?
You have to think so, or there's like maybe that unspoken, hey, I got a guy like Reed Blankenship who just played 116 snaps.
That's unreal.
You're combining his 95 plus his special teams. I mean, that's Iron Man football right there, right?
Yes.
I mean, James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Kevin Byard, and Reed Blankenship all played all 95 defensive snaps yesterday. So I don't know that there's necessarily that dialogue there, Bob, but you can sort of feel it. You have that you have that presence, and you just know it. You know what? We got to sustain something here because we can't keep rolling our defense out there and expect them to keep making stops against somebody with such a live arm like Josh Allen. They can really beat you in a multitude of ways.
I think I have to apologize to Michael Clay because after last year, I wanted to see him shown the door. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous how poor the Eagles special teams were. They lose 2 of their special teams captains in the summer, and this special teams unit has been nothing but, I believe, superior to a lot of their opposition.
I'm really happy you brought up special teams because, and you weren't alone in that, John. A lot of folks were ready to write off Michael Clay, but inside the NovaCare complex, there was never a loss of confidence. It never wavered. You see it last week. That play that Josh Jobe made, tackling Kadarius Toney and pinning the Kansas City offense at the 9-yard line, was an under-discussed storyline coming out of that game. Really crucial play. Britton Covey second in the NFL. Well, came into yesterday second in the NFL at 277 punt return yards, 14.6 average. And Jake Elliott. I mean, what more can you say about Jake Elliott? The guy made arguably the highest pressure kick and the hardest kick in franchise history yesterday with the rain and the wind there. And, I mean, you're not seeing a whole bunch of back-breaking returns. It's just been or those penalties, and I just think it's been a cohesive effort. So you have to acknowledge Michael Clay and what he's been able to do.
And we always appreciate your insights. Now, what do you got cooking for us this week on Inside the Birds so we can be following along?
Well, I have a story on Olamide Zaccheaus' touchdown, which, by the way, was remarkable. It was a scramble drill. So I got a chance to talk to him a little bit after the game yesterday. I'll have a story coming out this morning on that. My observations are on InsideTheBirds.com, which as you know, John, I write in-game. And I'll be doing some stories throughout the week. I'll be at NovaCare either Thursday or Friday this week. So there'll be plenty of content. The Rookie Diary with Eli Ricks will be coming out as well. So stay tuned.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Andrew. We always love you. Appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks,
have a great day.
And on this Monday, where the Eagles are 10-1, we've been asking you all morning long, how are they 10-1? Got some answers there, and I think maybe Bob, it's more of that right now for a variety of different reasons. This Eagles offense has some issues and things like that, and really too, yesterday to lose your starting right tackle, 4 hours before the game.
Probably your most important player besides the quarterback, right, John?
Yes. Well, on this team.
Yeah.
He certainly is. Hey, you want to get in with us? 610-632-0975. The Eagles won. Again, John Kincade Show, 97.5, The Fanatic. Look, jumpstart your holiday shopping. Black Friday's gone, but it's Cyber Monday. And, my friends at
The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, the Fanatic Deal of the Week is Yuletide at Devon. Ringing the holidays, save with the Fanatics Deal of the Week. 2 tickets to Yuletide at Devon, half price. A European-inspired Christmas festival, free carnival rides, photos with Santa, live music, and more. 35 high-end boutique shops, chef-created menus, and craft drinks. Check out the offer at 975thefanatic.com. Did you see Jalen Hurts rolling into the stadium yesterday as he was going in from the parking lot?
I did not.
Well,
what was he wearing?
Well, he was wearing. You have $1,400.
What? That's how much it costs for you to tell us?
He was wearing $1,400 sweatpants. Into the building
for him.
Did they have $1,360 inside of them?
That's what I'm saying. He wore $1,400 sweatpants in. They're called Gallery Department GD logo flare sweatpants in yellow.
Costco sweatpants. You have a problem with them.
Pat, these though for $1,400. They accentuate the buttocks.
Okay.
Providing a rounded appearance.
All right. Well, if sales could get me, in contact
some $1,400
with those people,
sweatpants.
Yeah, we can get nuts. I mean, if you look for him, that probably is the equivalent of Costco sweatpants.
Here's
$1,400 to him is probably nothing at this point when you're making $250 million.
I want Bob to look at them. They have a blood stain on them, a cut, and everything like that, and that's part of it. That's part of the look. It's got a blood stain on them.
Whose blood is it?
It's not real. It's a fake blood stain.
It's
really incredible. And it's got paint splatters on it too. $1,400. It's amazing.
I need to see. I mean, just from what you're
I'll send it to you,
describing,
Pat.
I don't probably. It's probably just not my.
You don't think
fashion.
you'd do it? Yeah,
I don't think I'm pulling it off.
No. And the thing is, though,
I haven't been able to pull off the bloodstained look in a couple of years now.
It looks like I sent it to you.
Try again.
Pat, I sent it to you. It's a picture. So there you go. So it just tells you a little bit about what's, Jalen can have $1,400 sweatpants.
Yeah, I don't.
Bloodstains.
Yeah, he can.
It's also not my color.
Yeah, yellow's not mine either.
No, but for him, I mean, when you're winning games like the way that he did yesterday,
it accentuates the buttocks, though, Pat.
It accentuates his ability to win games. That's what it does. I mean, the blood stain is the stain of his enemies.
Hey, Michael in Yardley joins us. Michael, how is this team 10-1? And thank you for holding.
Of course, Jalen can wear whatever he wants as long as he's winning his games, guys. There's something that doesn't show up in box scores. It doesn't show up on first level stats, and that's just clutchness. And it starts with number one. There's a reason why when other teams, other players are put in position to make big plays at big moments, they don't, and then we do. That sack by Graham, that was big time. Not a lot of people are talking about that late in the game. That touchdown to Olamide in the back of the end zone, that's clutch by Jalen. The field goal was clutch. That last drive is clutch. And when you guys talk about Jalen talking about the standard all the time, the standard.
Yeah, what is the standard?
Even if it's not a real thing, they don't have to believe it's a real thing. I feel like it's like a folklore that Jalen talks about, but everyone believes it. And since everyone believes it, that's why they come up clutch, because they look at their leader and they say he's unfazed, and they go, all right, guys, I guess since he's unfazed, I guess we're going to do this.
It does feed off it, right? I mean, if you got something, thank you, Michael. It does feed off it, right?
Yeah, I think the goal, I think the standard is perfection. I really do. And I think they know it's, you come out of a game, how'd you do? I didn't play the perfect game. Why? Well, 9 out of 10 plays, I think I did what I was supposed to. That 10th one I didn't. I missed this. So I have to get better at that. I don't have a problem with the standard being perfection. As long as you know it's never going to be reached. But believing you can could be what motivates you.
Okay.
I do. We talk about that a lot. You can win a basketball game by 40, a hockey game by 6, and you look at it and you say, yeah, but I don't mind that. I really don't. I always like to look to get better, even when you're maybe almost reaching perfection, which at 10-1, the Eagles overall have almost reached perfection, but not in their eyes.
Last year, Jordan Davis, a guy taking a lot of bullets for we're not getting enough performance out of Jordan Davis. 62 snaps yesterday, 18 more than his previous high. And again, they held the Bills running backs to under 3 yards a carry. He was a slow starter, but man, he eased into it. And I got to think, Pat, sort of like when he was laying on the ground, it's all about his conditioning improved this year. They got him into NFL shape, and he's playing up to 62 snaps yesterday. That's 18 more than he'd ever played.
I think it probably goes to who his mentor is. You know, you come in the NFL, you're a bigger guy, and you've got Fletcher Cox, who kind of takes you under his wing and is trying to teach you the ways of the NFL. And it's like, oh, crap, you know, you're in a rotation in Georgia. You're not used to this amount of snaps. And last season, yeah, I mean, there wasn't a book written on him. He just, you know, he dealt with the injury, and then you didn't see him too much. But, you know, it gives me hope for him. And not only gives me hope for him, Jalen Carter's in his first year. He was in the same rotation that Jordan Davis was in. You know, his conditioning was probably similar to that of Jordan Davis when he came to Philly. It's only going to get better. I mean, it's scary to think about where these two are going to be in 2 years, 3 years, if they are already this good at just shutting down the run.
Now, one of the sports books in Vegas, they may have put it back up, took Jalen Carter off the board as far as defensive rookie of the year. They took it off for like a 36-hour period. They were like getting too many people just all piling in going, yeah, he's going to win it. It's a foregone. It seems like a foregone conclusion.
He's minus.
And thank you for that, Pat, that you had me bet it during the summer when I've got great odds in my Bet Parks app.
Yeah, what'd you get it at?
Plus 170, I think.
Okay, because he's minus 250 now.
I think it's plus 170 or plus 180.
So he's minus 250, and Jalen Hurts, this is what I have on mine, plus 125.
Oh, wow.
And then the Birds to win the Super Bowl are the third favorite.
Third?
Yes.
San Francisco, Kansas City?
San Francisco plus 400, Kansas City plus 425, the Eagles plus 450. All right there.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, the Vegas has been they show up to the casinos wearing 49ers gear.
Yeah, they know. Well,
they're about to find out.
I remember just another thing. As one of my let's just say people who enjoy gambling on games points out, don't give a damn about the point spread with the 49ers. It's not disrespect. They're trying to get money on both sides. They want to get even betting, and they want to get a feel for it. And a lot of times they will throw out a line to see where
something they can feel.
To see where people go. Some of the sports books are already down to a half. 49ers minus a half. So the public seems to be thinking take the Eagles as the home dog.
A half?
Minus a half point.
I don't know if I don't remember. I don't remember a line and a half.
To me, that's stupid to me.
Yeah.
Like, why just bet the money lines?
I took it as a personal attack.
Bet the money line in the game.
As well you should.
This game to me has been circled.
Hey, Denzel joins us from West Philly. Denzel, you're on the Fanatic. Good morning. Denzel. We lost him. Must have fallen off.
He went to go bet the MVP award and the Super Bowl and all that.
Let's go check with one of our jurors. It ain't easy being cheesy. It's John Cheeseborough. Johnny, come on. Why is this? Tell us the why. How is this team 10-1?
Simple. It's the Pat Egan diet of ice cream and cereal, going crazy over those Crunch and Reese's Puffs.
It does work.
So you think that really
it works?
This team confounds us.
It's crazy because you see what happens in the first half. You see they have to make adjustments. It is not necessarily that the game plan is inferior. It could be the game plan is in place, but it's not executed. So they make adjustments. They try to simplify things, and like Jalen Hurts keeps saying, they persevere. They don't stop. The problem that I'm having is how do you let Josh Allen basically go off on his own for 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, converting those 3rd and longs yesterday, and nobody was assigned to him. But they made the adjustments they needed to make, and they kept rolling. So it's a mystery. They're 10-1. I'll take it. We don't have to worry about style points.
But we're not even bringing up style points. Get that out of your mouth, John. And that, Bob, is something you brought up earlier in the show. And thanks, Johnny. You brought it up earlier in the show. Is Josh Allen scrambling on those 3rd downs was huge yesterday.
Yeah,
and the
so
tackling was poor.
Yeah, and him breaking away from guys and just barely eluding. But look, he's a great athlete with a strong arm. He's quicker than many realize. He's kind of fast. He can elude people. He's just that kind of danger thing. And a play is never over with him.
No.
One of the things we were talking about on the pregame show yesterday was who's going to make the better ad-libbing plays, because Jalen Hurts is very good at it also. The touchdown to Zacchaeus is a perfect example of it.
Unbelievable play.
Yeah. They both made very, very good ad-libbing plays. Josh Allen probably had the more, but again, somehow the Eagles are able to overcome it.
It's to me, it's pretty incredible when you think that that San Francisco, the betting public seems to really be in on it. And we're going to be talking about them all week long, but the betting public seems to be really, really high on the San Francisco 49ers coming in here and winning. And I find that really hard to believe. I just got to tell you, it's going to, like, I understand the 49ers are a really good football team, but I find it hard to believe that they're going to just, oh, yeah, everybody's like sort of seems to be piling on to, man, the Eagles, they might be good, but the 49ers are better. I couldn't see the Eagles losing 3 games in a row at any time. And I don't care who they've lost. I don't see them losing 3 games in a row.
No.
And that,
not at all.
The 49ers having done that tells me something about them that makes me question. Tony in Jersey has questions. Tony, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, buddy.
Hey, just a couple things. First of all, John, you sound like my wife breaking my chops about my sweatpants that I wanted to wear to Thanksgiving. Jalen Hurts can wear whatever he wants.
Oh, no, I'm just saying $1,400.
I'm just kidding with you. But Jalen Hurts could wear the Borat thong outfit deal that he had on with 2 middle fingers extended to the camera, and nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
But, hey, guys, just a great day yesterday. The best part about it was watching it with my 11-year-old and watching him going crazy. But just the one thing I wanted to bring up, and I'm sorry if it was mentioned already, Jordan Mailata can't come out and said that the last Hurts touchdown run to win the game was an in-game auto adjustment or auto check once the safety over the top had run with the fast motion out wide. So, Brian Johnson, not his best day. You got to give him credit on getting something like that implemented mid-game.
Okay. The one I would ask you is, though, was it when it's audible, was it something that Jalen Hurts actually made the call of?
Well, I'm sure.
Because the biggest play against the Chiefs, Jalen Hurts called it, not Brian Johnson. He checked out of Brian Johnson's call.
Well, when you have an auto sight or auto adjust in football, the quarterback has to relay it, right? But the point is that it has to get implemented at some point in the game.
Okay.
And usually that's coming from the OC.
All right, that's a good point. Good point there, and that gives him some good credit there. Brian Johnson, the dialogue on Brian Johnson, Bob, needs to be more balanced. And I'm speaking to myself and to everybody else. It needs to be more balanced considering that they keep winning and that when I hear Tim McManus and I hear Andrew DiCecco and others talking about the fact that how they adjust during games, he is pretty good at that.
He's doing more than the naked eye can see, obviously. Yes, adjustments at the half. You outscored the 49ers the Chiefs 14-0 last week. You scored 30 points after halftime this week. Obviously, he's doing something right. You're averaging, as you said, John, better than you were last year, over 28 points a game.
Yes.
He's obviously doing some things right. Could you say he's making it harder on the team at times?
Yes.
Sure. And is it blatantly obvious? It appears to be. But, who are we to question? 10-1 and averaging over 28 points a game.
Do you? I mean, yeah, I get you, and I think that it's a smart thing that people are saying. I just think I'm one of the people who has been a absolute questioner constantly of him, and I just want to make sure it's a little more balanced because the adjustments. When I hear the smart people who cover the Eagles talk about the adjustments all the time, I realize, okay, you got to make sure that it's a little more balanced discussion because he's winning, and that's one of the things that. The winning is, why are they winning? Are they winning because of talent? Because I've got some people here telling me, it's because of talent. It's because of the roster. It's because of how we built that they should be winning. And the thing is, too, I don't know that you can ever say a team should be 10-1. That, to me, is crazy because that's a really incredible record. But you should say that the Eagles should be the class of the NFC East, that the Eagles should be one of the best teams in football. So I don't think they're doing anything that they shouldn't have done.
If they're doing anything they shouldn't, it's winning games that are too close.
Right.
I mean, maybe some of these games should have been blowouts. Maybe there should be 50 points scored a game and winning in the fashion you did last year. More so. I don't know. There are teams that are trying to stop what you do. We can't forget that. We can't just say, why aren't the Eagles doing it? Well,
exactly. Right.
There is a reason. There's a team in blue, red, green on the other side of the ball that's trying to stop you. and they are professionals also. So it's a delicate balance. But you know what? That goes to what I talk about in sports. What are the fans looking for if they're complaining about Brian Johnson or if they're complaining about who's getting the ball when? They're looking for perfection. And that's what sports is.
Here's a juror that I know will be very reasonable and very calm. It's Mike from Delran. Mike, if you heard E-Rock's call, man, you got a high bar to get over today.
I'm not dry. I'm in a league of my own, John. E-Rock's a man. He's in a league of his own. There's no cop there between us.
There's no crying in jury duty, by the way.
No crying in jury duty. Listen, how are they 10-1? I don't care. They're 10-1. Like, the conversation a week ago was which team was better last year's or this year's. Last year we steamrolled teams. We got to a Super Bowl, and we couldn't get it done in a close game. This year, we're playing way better talent, and we're finding ways to win. I don't know what the stat is on 1-point games for an Eagles in the season, but it's got to be up there with one of the best seasons we've ever had. And I'll tell you one thing that nobody's talking about is we're getting the breaks our way. Listen to me. That horse collar yesterday, if that was the other way around, I would have popped a blood vessel. Stephon Diggs dropping 3 or 4 big passes. Every week, the other team's making mistakes that we capitalize on, and the breaks are going our way. I listen to people post on Facebook and Twitter that it's hard to beat the Eagles and the refs, and I've never seen a season where I've seen that so many times. And it is what it is. But at the end of the day, this is a team of veterans and young talent with a leader in Jalen Hurts that are going to find a way to win. And when Jake Elliott lined up for that 59-yarder, I had no doubt.
Really?
He was going to make that kick. He's that automatic. I had no doubt. I was not surprised. I did not get up and jump down. I knew that this team was going to go find a way to win, and it's exciting, and I can't wait to beat the piss out of the Niners next week. Go Birds!
I can't wait. Good job, Mike. Good job. Every single person today, either on the show, other than me, you just all assumed that Jake Elliott was kicking a 59-yarder in the wind and the rain and everything, where I'm having kittens. I'm standing, I'm pacing, and I'm watching, and I'm not wanting to watch, and I'm watching. It was terrible. That was excruciating, and he's so freaking awesome. That was like a low. It looked like one of my drives, Bob, on a golf course, where you have that arch. You have that arch, but no, your ball goes up like in a nice little arch. Mine is more line drive. I tend to be. I don't hit a high ball. That ball didn't get high off the ground. I didn't think it was going to get there.
It didn't look like his greatest. And as Pat and I were talking about earlier, it seemed to be moving a little bit while it was up in the air, back and forth. But I don't know. I just looked at it as a foregone conclusion. I did. I was like, all right, they're going to win in overtime. Yeah.
The only time I thought they were going to guaranteed win the game was when the Bills kicked the field goal in overtime.
I kind of had the same feeling. And for those of you out there that didn't see it, Brandon Graham on the coin toss to go to overtime, the Bills win it, and they're like, we'll take the ball. And Brandon Graham goes right after their captain and right into his face and says, doesn't matter.
Won't matter. I mean, that's fantastic stuff. I love that. Pat, you just, at what point did you think they would win the game yesterday?
When they were able to hold them to a field goal.
Yeah, so again, we went to overtime. I really thought they were winning that game.
And their inability to get off the field on 3rd and long last game. Yesterday I took years off my life and was maddening, and you'd think you'd had him and, be 3rd and long, and Allen's dropping back, and the defense would get like hands on him, and then he would just get out of the pocket and pick up a first down. But when they were finally able to hold him to a field goal, I went, oh, this team's screwed.
Unbelievable.
They done messed up. And, sure enough, the Eagles marched right down the field.
We have Haley hard at work. Got some news from James Palmer. His dad, a powerhouse in this town, the talented Scott Palmer. It looks like Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert is pushing to play this weekend versus the 49ers. It does seem very realistic for him to be in the fold 2 weeks after the Cowboys game, I'm told.
Well, no, that makes sense because it's about the timeline was, I think, 4 to 6. That would be what, 3?
Well, he had a bye week and he had 2 games.
Yeah,
so that's 3.
So it's 3.
But he's pushing to play this weekend.
Like I had the thought after the game of I wonder if he does play.
What do you?
They didn't put him in IR, and I thought that was interesting when they didn't do that because that would be 4 weeks. All right, well, then maybe it's not as bad. And apparently it was a clean break. I wouldn't play him personally because I wouldn't risk it, but.
That's what I wonder about is that you have a long-term goal of winning in February 11th. That's what your goal is, to win a game on February 11th. Do you risk Dallas Goedert, Bob? If Howie will text you later, I'm sure, to get your thoughts on this. But do you do it?
It's the question that you always hear. Well, can you hurt it anymore with an injury like that? If they say no,
he can only break it again.
Yeah, and it would take what happened before. Is he more susceptible to a break?
I think
because of the way it is. If the answer is yes, well then I'm giving him more healing time. If the answer is no, it's healed. A hit to it again, it'll break. It would have broke anyway. So if he's good to go, I'm going with him.
We have a lot of great people on the line trying to figure out how the Eagles are 10-1. And, boy, there's a lot of joy this morning on this Monday. We're all feeling it. And I truly believe next week is for all the marbles. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic.
Union and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
How's your Monday going? It's a football Monday on The Fanatic. You know that's presented by Pierce Phelps, Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning Contractors. Visit nopaybryant.com for flexible spending options on a new heating and cooling system. I've never seen a sports team that affects a city more, though. When, like today, I guarantee you.
Oh, you weren't around for the Kicks era.
Oh, the Kicks. I heard it was big.
Wildness.
It was wild.
Indoor soccer.
And I heard the Soul. Soul really affected
we
things.
absolutely rolled with the Soul.
Not going to lie, probably covered more than a handful of games of both of those teams.
No, you didn't.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Kicks?
Don D'Ambra? Oh, God, yeah.
You were covering the Kicks? You had the
I
Kicks
did cover
beat?
the Kicks. I'll tell you how long ago this was.
Wait, so you were covering the Kicks and then you were rewarded with the beat of the process?
Yeah. I was covering a Kicks game. I wasn't the beat. We didn't have a beat. We just took turns covering. But I was covering a Kicks game with Todd Zalecki.
Oh, my gosh.
When he was announced, he had just found out he was going to be the Phillies beat writer.
Jeez,
That's
man.
how long ago
He
that
popped
was.
champagne right in the press box.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm out of the Kicks. Hey, Tim McManus was on our postgame show last night. And if you don't listen to Connor and Tom after the game, when you get in your car in the parking lot, put on Connor and Tom. It's very, very interesting. You get a lot of great immediate reaction from people. But right now, Tim McManus says, hey, it's not a good recipe. What's going on?
You know, they are surviving, and I don't know that that's a great recipe for the postseason. They need to be peaking at the right time. The mistakes need to be going down. The efficiency needs to be going up. And, they've been preaching that all year. It's like, we haven't hit the standard yet. We're not playing our best ball yet. We don't want to be quite playing our best ball yet. But certainly, they need, as we now we're going to be moving into December and then into those January playoff games. Like that's when everything needs to come together for this team.
All right, Tim's finally articulating it, though. We keep hearing about the standard and where we're at, and we haven't seen it yet. And the next game will be played on December 3rd. That's still very troubling to me, even at 10-1.
No question. There's no question. You talked about a mindset earlier, and there is a mindset. We're going to win this game. Don't know how, don't know when or why, but if you're an Eagles player, I truly believe that's your mindset. There's somehow, some way we're going to win this game. However, there's also must be a mindset in there somehow of, we don't play our best ball in the first half, and you got to get rid of that. Somehow, some way. And it's amazing. If they do play really good football in the first half and continue to play the way they do in the second half, they'd be putting up like 50, 60 points.
I'm going to tell you right now, I always try to tell you in the beginning of the week, and we're not talking this game today because we're talking yesterday's game, but I have a gut instinct of I feel good about the 49ers game. Not great, but I feel good about it. I feel good about that there will be a little extra attention, juice, and motivation for the Eagles on Sunday. And everyone's going to talk about the 49ers having the motivation. I think the Eagles are going to have just as much motivation because if the Eagles win on Sunday, I believe it is over. The NFC is over. It's done.
Yeah, the motivation, it's all there. We know what happened last year in the NFC playoffs and all of that and what the Niners had to say and blah, blah, blah. I didn't have a feel yesterday, and even driving down to the stadium.
I felt terrible, by the way, when you were out the other day. I felt terrible about the Bills game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did not feel good about it.
Driving down there, I'm trying to figure out why. Why don't I really have a feel for this game? And I guess it was because of the holiday and I was away and all of that stuff kind of came into play for me. Then we get down there, and I drove over, and I always get places early, as you know, and I got over there. There was, like, no traffic going over, and I was it was like 11 o'clock, but nothing. I mean, no traffic. And then I went downstairs. I sat upstairs for a while, went downstairs to where we do our show, and couldn't feel it. Like,
couldn't
just
feel the
didn't
energy?
Feel it.
Was it energy you couldn't feel?
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, all right, well, it's a bad day, so people are going to come late because it's raining, and you don't want to be soaked going into the game. But no, it just didn't feel it. And then came word of Lane Johnson not playing in the middle of our show.
And you're like, uh-oh.
And I flipped, and I said, I think the Bills are going to win this game. I did. I felt, on the fence. And then I thought with Johnson being out, they wouldn't win the game. But, again, they find a way to do it.
I wasn't a coward like Bob. I didn't flip. I thought birds would roll no matter what. Oh, please don't go back and check the tape on that.
That's absolutely a lie.
Well, you can check the tape if you want, Bob.
I have it right
Is there
here.
tape? Do we have tape?
We don't have time. Just take my word for
Okay.
it. But I did not flip-flop. I thought the Eagles would be just fine without their starting right tackle, and even though their record is like 10-30 without him.
Unlike you guys.
Yeah, I was panicked.
I had $2,850 on the line, and none of you answered my text. As I'm panicking.
I saw it too.
We were working. Yeah, that's exactly. I told John. I saw it
You
after the
guys are
game
always
started.
on your phones. I thought somebody's going to help me.
No,
I was panicked because
Pre-game, not on the phone.
in my survivor pool eliminator, I'm one of 5 people that was left, and I picked the Eagles, and I wanted to change it to the Minnesota Vikings tonight. And I'm like, I'm not feeling good about this game. I'm thinking this isn't going to be a good matchup. And then when I heard about Lane Johnson, I was getting the itch, and I said, if I lose with the Eagles, at least I went down with my team, so I kept the Eagles, and they ended up pulling it out.
How many people are left?
2 have advanced. Me and another guy have advanced.
Okay.
The other 3 people all have Minnesota tonight. If the Bears win tonight, will I do the happy dance of all happy dances?
Well, will you propose a split?
I will not propose the split.
Oh, I would. I'd be splitting like crazy.
I'll think about it. $1,500 is $1,500.
Like a cheerleader.
Splitting like a stripper. Well, you go cheerleader, I go stripper.
Hey,
that's what my mind
More
is.
classy than you.
Hey, Tasty Cake Dom's out there. Dom, what's going on this morning?
Hey, oh, what a great morning. Hey, Pat. Hey, John.
Hey, buddy.
Bob.
Hey, Dom.
How you guys all doing?
Good,
Great.
man. But how is this team 10-1, Dom?
It's all the other things you said all morning, John, the pieces, but it's Jalen. If you have the guy, you can do things like that. You can win things like that. And that's the most important. It was a revelation because, John, when you have the guy, you can win games like that. And then if you don't have the guy, John, the guy in New England becomes very normal without the guy, isn't he?
Yes, he certainly is. Without Tom Brady. I mean, Bill Belichick looks more than vulnerable.
So it's Jalen. The aura is just, I don't think there was an Eagle. They said it all throughout the game that they won't flinch. And I believe even when they were down 10, even they thought they were going to win that game somehow, and then they do it.
They did. And, Dom, take care of yourself out there today.
Thanks, Dom.
It's getting colder. They did. They found out a way to win. They found a way to win again.
Yeah, it's funny. There's Pat mentions him often, but we had a running joke when I was covering the Sixers that, if anybody brought up, man, my garbage disposal didn't work, I got a guy. There was a guy that we hung with. I got a guy. Anything that you brought up, I got a guy. He had a guy. And Pat knows who this guy is because he mentions him often. But the Eagles got the guy. And that might be it. They got a guy. They got the guy. You just don't feel. Now, I told you guys know that I do have a friend that isn't the biggest Jalen Hurts fan. I've picked up my phone a couple of times to text him, what did you think about yesterday? But I don't want to because I really don't want to hear his response because it's going to aggravate me. But I have to because I want to see if he'll finally give in and say, yeah, he won that game for them yesterday. Is that a fair statement, though? Jalen Hurts won that game for them yesterday?
Yes. The Zacchaeus catch, the scramble for the touchdown, the design, play to that he sort of, they embellished on to go to the left side on that run for the touchdown win. Yes, he won them that game yesterday.
Yeah, he won.
The Zacchaeus catch to me is the one that is the most improbable play of all that helped them win that game.
Well, I mean,
or a 59-yard field goal in the rain.
I think what Izzy had mentioned, it's 3rd and 15. So he starts to scramble. Not only does he scrambles to his left, which he's not great at. He starts directing traffic, and then to deliver that ball where only Zacchaeus could get it. Everything about that play was impressive to me. All of it. I mean, to pick up I'm just looking to pick up a first down, but when he scrambled to his left and starts directing traffic, I'm like, this ain't going to be good. And then he just whipped that ball out. And
Great catch.
That was one of the most impressive throws I think he's made as an Eagle. When you factor in everything about it, situation, where it was, circumstances, all of it, that's one of the most impressive throws he's made.
Hey, the 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by the Bagster. It's dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. And we've been asking you all morning, how's this team doing? And a lot of you have theories that you want to share with us. Wait a minute. Big Homie's joining us. Big Homie's in West Philly. What's the answer, Big Homie?
Oh, man, Bird Gang all day, man. What's good,
Thank you, buddy.
We were talking basically about adjustments, man, and the crazy thing about it is it kind of reminds me of boxing, man. It's a heavyweight fight no matter where we go, and I think that's why we lost to the Jets, because we came out with our game plan, and we didn't adjust well that game. We didn't play well. But it's like boxing. You throw your jab out and you try to see how they're going to react. Because if you come out and throw your best hook and they take it, it kind of does something to your confidence. So when A.J. Brown was having all those great games, it's like then they start shutting it down a little bit. We had to find something else to do. That was our right hook. Now we got to throw a left. Okay, now come on, Smitty. Let's go. Come on, Swift. Let's go. So those adjustments are great. It's just like boxing. So now they trying to see our best move, and they hitting us with their best stuff because we're the Giants. We're the big guys. They hitting us with their best stuff. We get everybody's best game every week. All we doing is throwing the jab out, because sometimes you can beat people just with the jab. It's a good jab. We got a great one.
And you can hold like some of your best stuff. Is that almost what you're saying?
No, not necessarily. I'm just saying it's not holding, because here comes the second half.
Right. Okay. Because I'll tell you this much, big homie. Thanks, buddy. I'm so tired, Bob, of not seeing DeAndre Swift enough, and I don't know. And I said that's why I wish somebody would just tell me. Anybody, find out what the plan is. Find out what is the plan.
Maybe, just maybe, to keep it to Big Homie's point, that Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell, maybe they're your body shots. And you get teams to lower their hands because you're hitting at the body so much. And then maybe come, I don't know, playoff time, that your hook is DeAndre Swift.
He's got such a better burst. He gets more yards after contact, even though yesterday that was an impressive Gainwell run. I mean, he has such explosiveness, and none of the other backs seem to have that. To me, that explosiveness.
Explosiveness to me from a running back is confidence. Confidence in your offensive line, confidence that you're making the right read of what hole to go to. Confidence that I can start full speed and adjust off of that. Not having confidence, to me, is the stutter stepping behind the line, which we've seen a lot of Kenny Gainwell.
Dancing.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron in South Jersey joins us. Ron, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How is this team 10-1, Ron?
Well, it's very easy, and I have the consummate reason why, is that they are what their record says they are.
So you're Bill Parcells Jr., you're telling me.
I weigh about as much as he did in his day, but I was at the house.
We already talked about it. You know what it reminds me of, though, Ron? It reminds me of this year's Phillies, where everybody all year long, people are like, you're harping on the wrong things. Yeah, they're over-aggressive. Yeah, they did. No, I was harping on the right things, because it ended up that's what cost them in the playoffs.
I was yelling so much at the house they couldn't tell whether it was good or bad. People, was that a good yell? Was that a bad yell? No, but I'll take it. And look forward to. And the Bet Parks app, I was like, DeAndre Swift, I needed 15 carries. He didn't get it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't get it.
My parlays got killed. I know. The whole first half, I was yelling and screaming, why isn't he running the ball? Why isn't he running the ball? And I'm looking at the app. I'm like, I'm not going to get him.
I love that you're on the Bet Parks app. Thank you, Ron. I don't understand it. And Pat, you have been you've been very vocal about Brian Johnson, but
Not
today,
been a fan.
But today you're very measured.
Well, I think a large part of it probably is the fact that when the Lane Johnson news came out, despite what I was saying 8 minutes ago, I was not in a good place. That news comes out, and I'm like, I don't think they win this game. Because, I mean, just statistically speaking, their record is horrible when Lane Johnson misses time. So my expectations for the offense wasn't great. And while I was frustrated in the first half, it was kind of living up to those expectations. They weren't playing great. Jack Driscoll did look like he was a problem. They weren't moving the ball all that well. They had the one drive, and that was about it. So I guess my expectations were there, but he did, I feel like, have a decent game. Now, there were a couple plays, I talked about, coming out of the half. I don't know what the hell he's going on coming out of the half. I mean, it seems like I'm literally waiting at this point to see, Bryce Brown at running back on the first play out of the half, because he just seems to just find the fifth string running back. And all right, let's go, Lorenzo Booker, your call, and you'll get the one carry. And it's weird. But for the most part, I felt like he actually called a decent game. Now, there were, once again, the 3 plays to start the half. I know people were frustrated about that, or to start the game. But I had the same reaction that Andrew DiCecco had when he joined us of, yeah, it makes sense. Their secondaries, I mean, it's disaster. So you should be throwing to start the second half. Other than the screen pass to Julio Jones was frustrating. But for the most part, I felt like he actually called a pretty decent game. It was the first game I came out of, and I wasn't all that upset with him.
I think his adjustments are really good. How about this, though? He found a way to have A.J. Brown get one catch over 6 quarters. That's crazy.
And win.
That's crazy to me.
It's crazy. It's crazier that you did that and then found a way to win.
I understand, but six quarters of A.J. Brown, he had one catch. By the way, A.J. Brown now sitting there at 1,050 yards. He was rampaging towards, people were talking about a 2,000-yard season. He's really, during these last 3 games, he's been a lot quieter. And Devontae Smith has been the one to step up in the last 3, which is fun to see. And Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are both on pace for record seasons for both of them. And A.J. has 7 touchdowns, and Devontae now has 5, which I think is great. That's awesome balance.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you have 2 number 1 wide receivers. If they're double bracketing one of your receivers because he's been playing so well.
Which seems to be A.J. Brown.
Yeah. Okay, Devontae Smith, here you go. Here's 99 yards for you or 110 for you, and, we'll try to force feed A.J. Brown some balls when you can. But there's something to be said for that. And you only had 1 reception against the Chiefs. They're bracketing him. Yesterday, you don't force anything to him, but you got him some balls, but only 5 for limited yardage. Okay, that means that, to me, that Jalen Hurts is taking what's given to him and not looking to force anything, and that's okay.
DeAndre Swift is going to go over 1,000 yards combined offense next week. He's only 28 yards from 1,000 combined. He's rushed for 770 already, and his receiving yards is 201. That's pretty impressive. A.J. Brown at 1,050 again, and all of a sudden now Devontae Smith up to 738. So you kept saying that, Bob. They're going to be games where it's going to be Devontae Smith. It's going to be his game.
Yeah.
And that's where he'll step up.
They're not just a one-trick pony.
Well, that's clear.
It's they can burn you in a lot of different ways, and they've won back-to-back weeks without Dallas Goedert. And he's kind of like, let's be real, he's kind of like the 3rd or 4th option on this offense. But he's such an important piece, and something that a lot of our guests have brought up is his blocking ability. But they've found a way to beat the Chiefs and the Bills without him, and without A.J. Brown really going off.
It's incredible. I think we're going to see a big. I have a good feeling about Sunday.
You want a good feeling?
Yes, I want a really good feeling, Bob.
How about 10 for 10?
What does that mean, Bob?
Yeah, that's a very good tease, Bob. What does 10 for 10
take some guesses is what I'm talking about, honestly. 10 for 10, I'll give it to you. The Eagles are 10 for 10.
Eagles are 10 for 10 when trailing by 10.
No.
Eagles are 10 for 10 in games.
No.
Well, then I don't know, Bob. It's a stupid stat if we don't know
10 for 10 in the red zone. Last 3 games.
That's a great stat.
Oh, that's great.
That's a great
as
stat.
much as we complained and all of that.
No, that's a great stat.
Now, the scary one to give you here, 21 for 39. That's what the Chiefs and the Bills were on 3rd down against the Eagles.
That's wild.
21 for 39. That ain't getting it done. Just some things to think about here. Look at the improvement in the red zone. Look how much better the offense has gotten in that particular point. And, look at this 3rd down thing. That's a little wonky. But you're talking about 2 quarterbacks who are really good at escaping, pressure in a pocket, at extending plays. And they did so, but the Eagles won both games.
They did. And I want to get to Matt in Ballackinwood. Matt, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. Matt, how's this team 10-1?
Jake the Make Elliott. I'll put it that way. He took the stinger out, and he basically just took that hybrid, that 3 or your 5 wood. He just said, I'm going to hit this 250, 275. And I was actually at the game, if you can't tell by my voice, but I was in the opposite end zone, and I literally looked at my dad and the guys next to me. I said, money. Don't even worry about it. Money. And they literally looked at me and said, are you sure? And I went,
wow.
Yes.
That's incredible. That's incredible confidence.
Yeah. Well, in him, I have to, because he's been money. And ask any of the guys on the panel. Would they tell you? I mean, Bob said he had confidence he was going to hit it.
Pat and Bob both said they thought it was going to be made. 59 yards in the rain with that wind. And how bad was the wind? You were there.
That end zone was probably worse. I was the end zone where the Gabe Davis touchdown, and also kind of where they scored one of the tush pushes. So it wasn't as bad there. It was worse on the opposite end zone. I was where the Eagles come out, so like that end zone.
Did you place a wager on Jalen Hurts to be the MVP?
I have not. I think I need to.
I think it's late. Pat, you think it's too late, right?
No, you can do it.
No. Too late, though. You're not getting real great value right now.
Well,
right?
I mean, it's plus
Thank you,
250. I started putting my futures bets on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl, and they're plus 450.
Well, you're going to be able to.
It's not great odds, but I mean, it's my hedge for all the Eagles bets I made early in the season.
Will you be able to sell a lot of those or not?
I'll decide at a later date.
You're not commenting right now. You're doing.
I'm not answering questions on my betting practices at the moment.
You haven't had a Bills question yet, so you're just deflecting.
Well, I can just tell you, I did place a small $5 wager on the Ravens
last night
before the game to win the Super Bowl, but just as like a precaution, as like hey, these two teams are probably the clearest. Best teams in the AFC. Let's play it both ways.
By the way, if you watched NBC last night, Jalen Hurts. We're very happy with Jordan Davis, but Kyle Hamilton for the Ravens.
I heard he was pissed.
He's a monster.
But I heard you see his guy. He was pissed that Zay Flowers scored because he wanted a break.
He's a monster out there right now. And last night on the broadcast, he had two, and I only watched a little while. He had two references to Brian Dawkins. Who's he remind you of? Brian Dawkins with his ferocity.
Who cares? We got Reed Blankenship.
Yeah, we're good. We got Reed.
Reed, by the way.
Ed Reed Blankenship.
He continues to 116 snaps.
That's crazy.
How?
Dude, you have off until Thursday.
Yeah, seriously. Yes, we'll talk about that. Ricky in North Jersey is joining us. Ricky, are you going to bring negativity to this show on a Monday?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because they brought negativity to me all last night. This is ridiculous. Brian Johnson, when is Nick Sirianni going to take over the play calling?
Oh no, he was terrible at it. We don't want him doing that.
We got to do something. You know what this reminds me of? When you go to the mall and you hear that song over and over and over again. It's embedded in your mind. This is what I do every week, and I'm saying to myself, oh, my God. All my boys call me like, are you calling on Monday? Absolutely. I'm like, I don't know how we're 10-1. It's scary. No Eagle fan can tell me, a true Eagle fan can say that they're confident every game that's coming up these next couple weeks. There's no way.
Well, 49ers and Cowboys, I got you, and we appreciate you, Ricky. But 49ers and Cowboys is tough for anybody. But, I mean, no confidence in the Eagles? The exact opposite for me.
Tell you, I got confidence.
I have confidence in the Eagles,
too. A lot of confidence. And maybe if you catch me tomorrow, after this high of winning has subsided, maybe I'll feel a little different. But I can tell you right now, I'm uber confident on Sunday.
Your face, Bob?
I'm really trying to understand. Like, Ricky saying, no, I don't like it. It stinks. They're 10-1. Like, what the hell? I don't care how you get to 10-1. You're really going to be I'm not going to say he sounded angry, but frustrated? Why do they do this to me every week? My friends all call and say, oh, they're never going to do it. You're 10-1. How can you not glean a bit of confidence from that?
Well, I
don't know. That's puzzling to me.
Jalen rarely loses. Honestly, he 17-1 at home now. So 18 starts.
So I texted that person that I know with the question. Give me your honest answer.
Let's just call him Boulder.
How did Hurts play yesterday? And he gave me only not even 200 yards or just 200 yards.
200
and blah, blah.
Exactly.
But here's what he finished with. Now, if he wins these next two games, I'll eat crow.
Oh, stop!
Like, are you kidding me?
The school.
All right. So what happens if he wins? One and wins the other one.
Well, then it'll be the same vitriol.
Loses the other one, but. And he plays well, but it's clearly like the defense lost it. Like, then what? I feel like it's back on the goalpost. To your point, Bob, about if they're 10-1, I don't know what there's to complain about. I think if they were 8-3, we'd be feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Because
They could've lost that
83,
Dallas game.
83,
Yes,
you'd
exactly.
be sitting here going, look, they're tied for the best
They're
team
right there in the mix.
In football, right? Or 9, whatever they are.
Yes.
We're right there. Like, there's nothing to complain about. What do you want? They're still first, and they're 10-1. So, no, there's no complaints.
I want to give a hand to that Reed Blankenship that we just talked about. 116 snaps. I can't believe it's true. And Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter both having their record number of snaps and being the two best players on the defensive side of the ball. Absolutely amazing. But one other guy, let's give a hand to James Bradbury. I think James Bradbury had a pretty good game.
Oh, key interception there.
And that was huge. And it was a beautiful read. He
Yeah,
did a
it
beautiful
was.
one. And then, hey, Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. Let you kickstart your holiday shopping. You can go buy a gift card at guest pricing. You get a free promotional gift card. Restrictions apply. See the spa for details. How are the Eagles 10-1? It's carried us this morning. And there have been so many different answers. We'll try to summarize what we've heard and plus get you in here. We got some jurors on the line and more. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I love Welcome to Cyber Monday. It's also Celebration Monday. As the Eagles are 10-1, John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. I just asked Bob the question, would he buy anything on Cyber Monday?
What do you think my answer was, Pat?
Absolutely not. 100%.
That's what he said.
And then what did I say after that? Because I have
You don't buy stuff online.
never bought anything online.
Bought anything
That's what
online.
I thought, but
Yeah.
it's
Never?
still hard to
I
believe.
just don't buy things. Like I don't buy things for myself. If we're getting something for the kids, Donna,
Donna will do
we'll
that.
talk about it, but she'll take care of it because if I were to buy it, she would change it anyway. Not in a bad way, but I
You've
don't
legitimately
have the
never
need.
gone online and put in your credit card information for anything?
Nope. Swear to God.
Really? You-
Like
do you
if
think
I
that's
need
normal?
something for that, no, I don't. But
Okay.
it's just how I.
No, I
that's
just- I'm-
just
I'm
me.
like,
I don't
I'm not-
think it's normal, and I'm not putting down people that do it.
Oh, I am putting down people.
Like if we need something for the house,
I'm putting down you.
I'll tell, we'll talk about it, and then Donna will look it up, and we'll look at it together and decide. But she does all the ordering and everything. Yeah, I don't.
But
if
when
you don't
she-
buy
when-
anything for yourself, why, and I just don't, why would you go online to buy?
For others?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that when eventually the time comes and she leaves you for that young Latin yoga instructor, like you're going to be screwed.
I think it's going to be the pool guy.
Okay. I mean,
see, that's what it's gonna
You'd
be.
know better than I.
Yeah, I will. I will be screwed. I'm not. I have no excuse for myself.
You're not self-sufficient enough.
Well, if I don't need something, it doesn't mean I'm not sufficient.
Do you think you could do it though?
Do I think I could go online and buy something?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Can you go online and buy me an Eagles jersey just to prove it?
Oh, you see, it's a good idea. Yeah, prove
I
it.
think you need to. I'm a small in a jersey size, and I think you should prove it.
Well, there is Kids R Us has a site.
Oh, it's not Kids R Us, jackass.
They
I'm
got a
a grown man over here.
Hey,
Jordan Davis.
Noah, I don't want to see you in
Jordan Davis's leg.
number.
I'm Jordan Davis's leg.
Noah, one of our jurors, Noah, sends in an email. He says you're turning a positive into a negative because I couldn't disagree more about the Eagles not creating good game plans because they're having to make adjustments. Every team in the NFL has to make in-game adjustments every week, no matter how good their game plan is. Well, here's what I'd say to Noah. If Noah was on the line. How come last year, when they came out of the gate, they came out firing and were much more productive in the first half? So to me, that means your first half game plans were better last year. A little bit better.
Oh, well, or some of the teams you played were worse.
Well, that could be too. Absolutely.
And the
but
schedule
that's
last year
just
was
started,
easy.
though. But that's just started the hard opponents.
I think what's amazing to me is we could probably, if they end up going and winning the Super Bowl, which is a realistic possibility at this point, we're probably going to look back at this tenure and go, that 2022 team was better than the 2023 team. But the 2023 team ended up winning the Super Bowl. Because I feel like the 2022 team didn't have as many issues, and we've brought it up, right? Like they started off hot, they would kind of take their foot off the gas, but ultimately they lost.
Okay.
And this team is on a collision course for Vegas, and they might end up pulling it out. I mean, they already beat the team that you'd figure they'd match up against, the Chiefs. They beat them in enemy territory. Like there's a possibility that we could look back 10 years from now, and if they end up winning, we go, yeah, they won, but man, that 2022 team, that probably if they matched up against each other, 2022 team would win.
Can you, Dave Uram from KYW had this little tidbit. Hassan Reddick on looking ahead to the 49ers this week. Talk is cheap. They get to come back in the link. It was a lot of boo-hooing last year, a lot of crying, a lot of what if, a lot of this and a lot of that. They get a chance to come back in here, line that sheesh up, and prove it again.
He's going to break another quarterback.
Seriously.
I love it.
He's after somebody.
I love
the
it.
same
Yes.
quarterback.
He wants to know exactly.
Oh, hammer Hassan Reddick sacks.
Yes, Hassan Reddick fired up and ready to go.
Love it.
I love setting the tone like that too.
I need them to sign him to an extension so I can get his jersey.
I think they will.
It's such a cool number for him too. You
7,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hassan or Devontae gets first bite
I would say Hassan.
because they can hold Devontae longer.
Yeah, they can hold him longer, and Hassan at this point has done it back-to-back years
Yes.
in Philly with different coordinators.
What do you do? 2 more? That would give him 3. That would give him 3 years.
I guess 2. 2's fine.
Yeah, add
3.
2. He's
Lifetime
already got
contract.
next year.
I'm cool with a lifetime contract. I like him.
Yeah, we love Hassan. Good Temple boy.
But yeah,
and
love-
you and I
love
both
hearing
called
that.
for him. We both.
I didn't think they were getting him, but I am thrilled that they did, man. I love watching him ball out.
Hey, juror Brian joins us. Brian, hand on the Bible. Let's go. How's this team 10-1, Brian?
I love the question this morning, John, is how, because I can't figure it out either. But the thing that I do is that we are from top of the house, Jeffrey Lurie, down to Howie Roseman, and then roster construction, plus Nick Sirianni, best in class across the board. And that helps you win games, and none bigger than our quarterback, because if you think back to the days when we had Donovan and then very shortly Carson, if those guys came out and were throwing burners and looking terrible, they never got it on track, and we had to overcome them. Our quarterback had a 7 quarterback rating in the first half and then put 4 touchdowns on the board in the second half. And he was spectacular, and he never quits. So that's my answer to how.
I like that. It seems very direct, Bob. Very direct, very almost simplistic, not in a bad way.
No, not in a bad way at all. No, it is amazing. If you look at the differences between the first half and second half. I mean, 3 for 11 or 4 for 11, whatever it was, for 33 yards. I mean, that's crap. And then he goes in the second half, gets 167, like the caller just said, puts up 4 touchdowns, makes an unbelievable throw that resulted in the touchdown to Zacchaeus, and just the guy's a winner. There can be reasons to not say, oh, he's not doing this and he's not doing that. The numbers aren't here. The numbers aren't there. Okay. I'll take a quarterback that's 27-2 in his last 29 starts.
Look,
it's ridiculous.
I don't
and
mean
17-1 at home.
Yeah, I don't mean this as a slight to Donovan, because I
was a big Donovan too.
Yeah, I mean, I still have his jersey and think very highly of him. But when Donovan had the ball and they were behind with 2 minutes left, he didn't have a lot of confidence.
You didn't have any kind of confidence compared to what you had with Hurts.
Look, the guy just wasn't, to Bob's point, he wasn't necessarily thought of as like a winner. He won a lot. I mean, he went to 4 NFC Championship games, and he's the most winning quarterback in Eagles history and all that. But when it came to like clutch moments, Donovan really didn't have that, like, okay, we're behind and we got a minute 45 and you got to, roll up the field there. And Hurts does. He's done it multiple times, and the guy's still super young, and all that can, change like Carson Wentz. But for it's a different feeling. I wouldn't have that with some quarterbacks where a minute 45 left, I have the utmost confidence that we're going to overtime. I do with him.
I would love to know the science. Maybe we'll hear it today. What was the science on that last play? Was it a called quarterback run? If so, if Brian Johnson did call it, what did he see? Was it something that you saw coming from the right-hand side, so therefore you ran it left and you pulled Kelsey and he made a phenomenal block there? Because that play was designed perfectly.
It really was.
I watched it over and over and over again. The way Buffalo went to the left side to the Eagles' right side, the way they ran their linebacker and safety over there, they saw something totally different. So if Hurts called it on his own, great on him. If Brian Johnson called it knowing that was coming, well, we have to make sure we give him his credit on that.
I would tell you, Pat, if you would like to be, let's just say, not needed a Blue Chew.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if you do, promo code Fanatic.
Oh, they're great. But Baldy's breakdowns, which is just Baldy does such a great job.
Need a cigarette there, huh?
Watch his breakdown. He has he has all the plays yesterday that Jalen Carter made.
Oh, yeah.
Just focused on Jalen Carter.
It's moving.
It really is ridiculous. Like he's tossing people aside, and it's stuff that you miss. And Bob, I miss it because I follow the ball.
Talk dirty to me, Baldy.
I follow the ball. And Baldy just breaks down. There's literally like a string of plays where he's just throwing people aside.
Oh, yeah. I need a cold tub and a cigarette after watching those kind of videos.
And blocking that field goal saved the game.
Uh-huh.
If he doesn't block that field goal, they win the game. The Eagles would have needed a touchdown at the end.
He was a force yesterday, no doubt, as was Jordan Davis. It was.
Oh, my gosh.
It's fun to watch those guys up front and see what they can do. And those are 2 other guys. See you on Thursday. Don't need you in here. Rest up, boys.
Do you believe that's going to be the approach this week? Do you think he's going to really take the?
No, you're not taking a slow approach.
But take him, maybe have him in do walkthroughs instead of practices. Type of thing.
Yeah, that was the defense was on the field for 92 plays, an overtime game, all of that. You're in a tough stretch here. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know how Nick Sirianni is going to handle this. I was thinking of this yesterday on the drive into the pregame show. How would I handle a 2-game set at home like this with Buffalo and then San Francisco coming into it? I wouldn't mind putting into the guys' minds that haven't been there before, the Jalen Carters, Jordan Davis only ones. Let's treat these 2 games like they're the 2 playoff games you're going to get to win.
That's a great
to go
idea.
To the Super Bowl.
That's a great way to approach it.
Let's treat it like that. And
I couldn't take that.
Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
I couldn't take that. Yesterday was so stressful. I've never felt my heart racing more watching that game.
I loved watching. I told you this before. I love watching people's reaction. We were with, I believe, 16, 18 people yesterday, and looking around the room, guys and girls who I'd never watched games with. But watching their anxiety level,
oh my gosh,
I get as much a treat out of that as I do watching the game almost.
You're a glutton for punishment. Hey, Ram in Houston joins us. Ram, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
What's up, guys? I got a couple of things to say, so I want to try to make it kind of quick. First, there are basically 2 aspects to everything you do in sports, just like life. There's the mental and there's the physical. If the physical is all the same, what you bring to it mentally is what is going to change the game. John, you beat cancer 3 times.
Yes.
I got to assume you didn't just do that because you wanted to live for yourself. I got to assume you wanted to live for your wife,
yes,
for your daughter. Maybe in a little way you care about what you do, and maybe in a little way you love the Philadelphia fans, you love the Philadelphia sports. You did it for us a little bit.
Yep.
Just like when I look at guys like Kelsey, Johnson, Cox, and BG. You got guys who've been doing it for 10, 11, 12, 13 years. You watch the Kelsey documentary. He does it for Kylie. He does it for his girls. He does it for Ed. He does it for Donna. And a little bit, he does it for us. When you've got guys in key positions that are doing things and not thinking just about themselves because they've already been paid, you know Kelsey's doing it for the offensive line room. You know he does it for Jalen. You know he does it a little bit for us. When you put all that together and you've got key guys, Sirianni sleeps on his couch, not because for himself and his money. He sleeps on his couch in his office for the team and a little bit for us. Those are the differences that you make. When you get guys like T.O. that do everything for themselves, they destroyed Dallas, they destroyed us for a little bit.
Stephon Diggs.
Guys like Jerry Jones, who only does it for himself.
Right.
He destroys his team year in, year out. Those are some of the differences that mentality brings. And then the only last thing for me, I want to talk about, oh man, I just lost it. It was.
It's all right, Ram. You got plenty more. We got a big week ahead of us.
Brian Johnson.
Yeah.
We want to be even-handed on Brian Johnson. One of 2 things is true. He either knows we have DeAndre Swift or he doesn't know we have him. So either like the main character in Memento, he has to like be woken up at halftime and like, hey man, do you know we have DeAndre Swift?
Oh yeah,
we do. Like, let's get him in the game.
I'd pin a note to him, I went through a phase where I was losing my lunchbox or something, like I was forgetting something at school, and they used to pin a note to you. Did you ever have the note pinned to you?
What? Who pinned it to you?
The teacher. Like pinned a little note, like with a little stick pin
on your actual clothing.
Yes, like saying, remember to bring home your this because I wasn't bringing stuff home.
They treat you differently than everybody else?
No, they did it for other kids too.
Really?
Oh yeah, kids.
No, I never had anybody stick anything on my clothing.
Kids who were losing stuff. Karate Mark wouldn't pull that crap. Karate Mark, good morning.
Yo!
What's up, Mark?
E-O-E-S Eagles! How about this Monday, fellas?
Oh, it's a wonderful Monday at 10-1. I mean, it's incredible. And we got a huge week in front of us, which is even better.
Oh, my God. I'm stuck in between a little bit of beef with the Bills, a little bit of respect, and a little bit of ha. So, Bills came out playing very chippy yesterday. And I understand a lot of times in sports that you could just commit penalty after penalty after penalty to the point where the referees put the whistles back in their pockets. And then the opposing team starts to get in their own heads and, oh, let me do this and that. And then the refs blow the whistles on them. So Bills played good, really good yesterday. And they played chippy and they played strong. And we did not fall into it. We didn't fall into it.
No, we didn't. We really didn't. We didn't get sucked into that at all.
And then those dirtbag Bills players coming over to the sideline when all we were doing was barking at him, and then he pushed the guy on the sideline.
That's
We got in their head.
got to be a suspension for Shaq Lawson.
Oh, my God. Suspend them, fine them. But you know what's better than a suspension than the fine? Normal, average people got in the professional's head. That was a victory on top of the victory. Homie standing on the sideline. You're my idol for the day. Bills, suck it! E-A-G-L-E-S! Eagles, bring on the Niners!
There we go. Thanks, Mark. Thank you, buddy.
He is the man.
He's trying. Everybody's trying to channel E-Rock after E-Rock's call.
Oh,
which was
E-Rock
monumental
appreciate it today, yeah.
Which was monumental.
Yeah.
It was truly a monumental.
That will be played for a long time.
That should be played in the locker room for the team. They should play that.
I'm sure it'll get Nick Sirianni fired up if he listens to it.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think it would get him fired up. So
Got me fired up.
It certainly got me fired up. I love it. Julian in North Philadelphia joins us. Julian, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Yep. Hey, good morning, fellas. What a game. What a game. Jalen Hurts got to be the clear-cut MVP right now, right?
Well, he's leading the MVP balloting. I mean, as far as betting odds. So he's your best bet right now.
I was so, I wasn't even scared at that halftime. I was more so really upset the way we were playing. We're a better team than that, and we showed it. I was so happy when Buffalo got the ball at overtime. They had no excuse. They had every chance to win that game, and, we took it from them. We took that game from them.
And I love that, but how is this team 10-1?
Great teams find a way to win, man.
So you really do? You just think it's that they have found a way to just they dig deep?
Yeah, like you said, like Kelsey said in the Super Bowl, it's the whole damn team. The whole damn team.
I love that. Thank you, buddy.
Julian's onto something. Maybe it is that simple. Great teams find a way to win. They do what they have to do to win. All that has to say at the end of the day is you have one more point than the other team does. You find a way to do it. It is.
It's very much that
it's probably not real likable because you come away with games like you had yesterday where, like you were saying, you're dancing all over the floor and pacing back and forth and all that. But maybe it is that simple. They'll just find a way to win. Don't worry about it.
And that's the key. That's the whole idea is that you have to find a way at some point. Find a way. Stan in Drexel Hill, usually talking Sixers, but today he's feeling those. He's feeling it right now for the Eagles.
I'm all eagled up, y'all. I'm all.
I love hearing that, Stan. What's going on, brother?
Listen, just like that last caller said, man, and Bob, I agree. Good teams, great teams find a way. Listen, I want people to understand. I'm going to preface this by saying you got to win Super Bowls first before I can put you in the tiers, obviously, of the Patriots and even Kansas City of recent years, right? But I got to tell you this. You watched Buffalo against KC in the AFC Championship game. Go down and score. Take the lead. Look like they were about to have a trip to the Super Bowl just for Kansas City to come back in, 20 seconds to tie the game and then win in overtime? Good teams just find ways. They just find it doesn't really matter how Jalen Hurts looked like one of the worst QBs in the first quarter, the first half. It wasn't looking good. But yet you looked at the score and you said, this is not a runaway yet, right? So if you're getting blown out, that's one thing. But this team is still hanging around. And then it just clicks. In that fourth quarter, he just turned like just Mr. Unstoppable. Listen, I'm tired of hearing everybody complaining, referees, this, that, and the third, all types of excuses. All I hear every single week is how the next team is going to do what the last team couldn't. Fan base is talking to me about, well, this team's going to beat you, this team's going to beat you. And it's like, well, how come y'all didn't beat us? How come your team didn't handle your business? You worried about us, and your team got a 3-4 game gauntlet coming up, and you worried about us, and we ready to smoke y'all.
There you go.
For me, I'm living in the moment. Obviously, the stretch isn't over. I would love to go another 3-0 to close this gauntlet out at 6-0, but they got to play it on the field. But I have the utmost confidence in the players. Listen, Brian Johnson, he's getting on my damn nerves with some of his play calling. But like Bob said, if that was his call, some of these calls he's made, they were the right positions, the right buttons to be pressed.
Good job.
And I just need to keep chugging along, and I got the faith that they can do it.
Good job, Stan. I love it. Love the energy and love the message, too. I mean, it's just chug along.
Yeah.
Chug along. Keep doing what you're doing. We have news out of the NFL that'll piss off Nick Sirianni. Ian Rappaport. The Panthers fired Frank Reich today.
Love it. This is great news.
Frank Reich coached 11 games with
This is great news.
They fired him after 11 games.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is phenomenal news.
Why is this phenomenal?
Because he's going to be your offensive coordinator next year.
What do you mean?
Because if they go to the Super Bowl, then Brian Johnson is going to get heavy consideration for a head coaching position.
Okay.
He will likely get hired because that's the new thing to do is hire these up-and-coming coordinators. And while we sit there and see the deficiencies,
the warts,
a lot of teams will just get so hyped up in this is the guy that made Jalen Hurts. If he wins the MVP, especially, this is the guy who made him the MVP. So he will get hired, and then you'll get Frank Reich back in here.
Well, Frank Reich, here's what I want to do. I want to usher this ahead. I want Frank Reich in tomorrow. I want Nick Sirianni to call him and make him the special offensive advisor.
Now, I wonder, because he just got fired, I wonder
I don't know.
if you're able to do that.
Yeah,
But
as long as he's not taking a head coaching job.
I think if
is there a
I think he would. Yeah, I think he would. I think, and you've already seen him kind of do it with the Vic Fangio situation.
Yes.
Yeah,
you can do it as long as he doesn't accept a head coaching job. He can still. He's not going to it's not going to screw with his money. It's not going to do. He's fired.
I mean, I had this thought a couple weeks ago, and I think I brought it up on the show about Frank Reich being your
if
OC
he was done.
next year. But I didn't think he'd get fired in season.
11 games into his tenure, David Tepper sucks.
It always amazes me,
As
too,
an owner.
because, like, what did he say 10 months ago that convinced you he was the guy, and 10 months later you go, oh, no, he's not the guy.
It's
You
ridiculous.
couldn't have expected him to win with that roster.
I think the fact that he chose the wrong quarterback
And that very well might be
is
it.
why they're getting rid of him. So, I mean,
guess, yeah.
he chose the wrong quarterback. He had his choice of every one of them, and he bet wrong. Well, it appears he bet wrong. And he didn't get the dynamic guy that does it. I want Frank Reich here, though. Senior advisor, whatever it is, intern. Like Nick Saban takes every college coach that gets fired, comes to work for Nick Saban just so they can get their full paycheck on a demoted position. And then he gets them another job. So I want him in now. Just to oversee.
Call him.
Be a
Get
part
him
of this
here,
thing.
John. It's on you now.
It's on me to get Frank Reich here?
Get it done.
Come on, Nick. Frank Reich. It'd be awesome if we could do that. That would be fantastic. If you want to get a late call in here, 610-632-0975, like Brian is in jury duty. All right, Brian, hand on the Bible. We're getting ready to get out of here. So what's going on?
Nothing much, man. How's it going, fellas? I apologize for a late call. My son had his parents' teacher conference this morning.
How was that?
School. Oh, man, he's doing awesome, John.
Awesome. That's great.
I'm so proud of him. But otherwise, about the Eagles, I just want to say, like, this team yesterday came out flat. I don't want to blame the weather, but I feel like the weather might have something to do with that. But they were nerve-wracking through three quarters. Fourth quarter, man, it was just like they turned it on, and we won. And I know, but we're going. And
We're going, Bo.
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Going to the Super Bowl, Bo. There you go, Brian. Good job, buddy.
Love it.
Pretty good.
Do you guys
Been
get
there
that from the
before.
kids in the car?
I mean, I get it every day. I got
Does
it.
he, like, talk to you when you're talking to someone else going like, Dad, hang up?
Yes. I mean, I got it yesterday. He came home and he was like, hey, do me a favor, go watch the game downstairs. I'm trying to watch the Goofy movie.
Really?
And I was like, yeah,
gave
bud,
it to you.
that's
He
not.
told you, man.
It's not really happening. And then it was like a level 7 meltdown.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't he watch the Goofy movie on the other TV?
I had to keep
set
an
in
eye.
his
I had to
ways.
keep an eye on both kids.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, look, like I'm watching the game. You can watch the Goofy movie later, and it was a struggle there. He gave me the whole like, why do you have to watch sports all the time?
Oh, jeez.
Got a point.
I was like, dude, it's my job. I have to.
Dad, why do you have to do that?
But you know what's funny about him is like he'll do that, and then the next day it'll be like, can I get a Jalen Hurts jersey?
Now, Riley doesn't keep you that occupied, does he?
He's kind of a potato right now.
Prop him up next to you.
Yeah, he's a
and, like,
potato. He kind of just sits there and chills. Yesterday, though, I was holding him, and when Jake Elliott hit the field goal, he was not pleased with my reaction. I tried
scare
very
him?
hard not to be. Yeah, I tried. I tried hard not to be loud, and I don't think I was loud compared to what I normally would get in that situation. When Jalen Hurts won the game, I was way louder, but I was cognizant of the fact I'm holding a 5-month-old, and I guess it was still too loud, and
you had better ball security.
and I tried to explain, like, but it's a happy screen. He wasn't understanding it because he's 5 months. He doesn't get English yet.
Hey, support. Tunis is going to be great coming up. And, of course, this afternoon, the best show ever. You don't want to miss any of it. Support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, the Davis CPA Group. Thanks, Ron Davis. Make a donation to the AACR today. Do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. It definitely saved mine. I can't wait to hear the Fanatic all day long and hear people celebrating. And then later on, starting tomorrow, we can start to look ahead to what the 49ers have in store for us. It's going to be a big week. Thanks for sticking around with 97.5 The Fanatic. Tunis is coming your way next. Have a great Monday.